Hello, hello. Get that. Let's get that little audio check done. I'm so discombobulated and doing so many things at the same time. I actually started my video minus my hat. Where is my hat? As you can tell from the shelves behind me, all the books have been moved to some degree, rearranged. I had to because I'm doing new research projects, and it requires different books. So I had to do a lot of rearranging, and since I did that, I just rearranged all the studio. I got new shelves, some new shelves. Did a lot of new stuff with other shelves. And the coffee is so good. All right. We'll be seeing another errant ad today, and her information is in the description box already. We'll be showing that video. I thought it was pretty cool, really. Pretty cool little product. I like it. Thank you, One Tux. Sound is awesome. Awesome. I'm pretty sure I could do without my hat, my old throwback. I stole that hat from my dad. That was my dad's hat. He used to wear that in the 70s and 80s all the time. Yeah, I wasn't going to have that. We're not having no more of that. It's my hat now. All right. Well, the heat has come back to Texas. Didn't take long. We froze for about 10 days. I had my AC unit reinstalled. I took it out so I can clean it, put that cleaner on it. So many interesting things going on in the field. Especially with Archaix. You guys know I have another channel. The other channel is called the Phorn Saga. Matter of fact, there's one book on Amazon, and it's the Chronicon. This is my Chronicon for the Phorn Saga. This is actually a year-by-year chronology of 20,000 years of history, back histories of all the major fairy characters before this fairy apocalypse unfolds. And mankind's caught in the center, watching what these fairies are going through. It's the transition from one epic to another. It was written 15 years ago when I was in prison, and it's about a very ancient AI that had become so powerful it was marooned to the outer world, to the outer rim system, in what was called the primitive world sector. And it's not on any of the HaloCom maps. And I got all this. I had to design a whole world with a back of galaxy and all this to write this story. And a lot of you have already listened to the first 21 hours, which is the first 3 books of the Oriclon Chronicles. On YouTube, it's called the Phorn Saga. I haven't gone further, although today I went to the storage and I got all the other manuscripts out. It's a lot. It's an epic story. I wanted it to be in competition with the Lord of the Rings and Guardians of the Galaxy. It's kind of a mixture of both. About 90% dark fantasy and about 10% Guardians of the Galaxy type material. And a lot of you have listened to those, especially you truckers out there, because you're always wanting long form content. But I had written this book, which is actually a chronicon, and it comes with a bibliography. The bibliography in this book cites fantasy books, and I have hundreds of quotes and citations of all these fantasy books that are hidden in my story and hidden in this book. And this book has a system of ciphers that help you understand what's really going on and why major characters do what they do. So anyway, the reason I'm telling you this is because the Phorn Saga in and of itself, independent of my name, isn't popular. No one knows about it. And yet I know the story is very, very good. I'm gonna do it on Archaix playlist because there's 6,100 subscribers on that channel. And I may switch that over. I don't get too excited, but I'm seriously considering switching that over to a sports betting website that's using the Ophis algorithm. And we're going to have fun with it. And I'm going to change it from Phorn Saga to something else. And I'm going to put the Phorn Saga videos. I'm not going to take them off YouTube. I'm going to transfer them to a playlist in Archaix just for the Phorn Saga. And since it's now on Archaix and you guys will all see them as they upload to the channel, I'm gonna I mean, if enough people listen to them and I see the interest is there, then I'm gonna go ahead and just go ahead and take the time to read the last 3 manuscripts, because this is only 50. What's posted is only. I know it's a lot. It's a lot, but it's only 50% of the story. So if you guys like it, if you guys like the Oracle, this is on Amazon here. This is just the back histories, but this is the Chronicle of Dagathar. I'm going to put all those videos. So if you don't want to watch them, don't get in the comment sections complaining about it, because I'm going to upload all 8 of them. Each one of them is 2 hours and 10 to 2 hours and 30 minutes long, and there's 8 of them. And I'm going to upload all 8 of them of the Phorn Saga onto my Archaix channel. And then I'm going to archive them in a playlist. And those who want to listen to them can listen to them. If you don't worry about it. You get smart in the comment section, because it's not Archaix related. You'd already know what it is. You know I'm a blocker. And I don't feel guilt about doing it. So my lunch break, he's recently got under my skin, brought to my attention, because he just rose so fast, and it's like, wow, man, here's information with 0 bibliography that's just taking off, and everybody's sucking it up, and I'm like, wow, does he have a whole bunch of bots following him? How did this happen? I mean, I struggled 300 videos before I even got 1,000 subs. This man exploded onto the scene. And I'm not making that up. He just started YouTube in 2022. So I looked into him a little bit, and I got some moderators that have been doing some research too. And one of them found another YouTuber who has the exact same voice, indistinguishable. I'm like, wow, is this an AI voice? Who is this guy? So I want him on my channel. So I sent a personal message to my lunch break today, and you guys know I'm all about public callouts. I think I'm gonna invite Paul Wallace to my channel too for a debate. And he's off big into the ancient aliens, and he's a pretty educated guy, so he shouldn't have any problem debating me. But yeah, it's not feeling the Stonehenge deal. My lunch break posted a deal on Stonehenge was 100% bad information, and I get it. I've answered some questions because people ask me, "Hey, Jason, why do you even care? Why do you even care?" Well, I care because I'm a published author, and I've written about Stonehenge, and I have 2 chapters on Stonehenge, not only showing you that they exist in the historical record, that Stonehenge is a very real thing, and it wasn't built by tractors in the 1920s and 30s and 40s like black and white images seem to convey, but that's only an interpretation. I have shown from books as early as the 15 and 1600s illustrations of what artist renderings of Stonehenge. So for somebody to show a picture in black and white from the 1920s or 30s, when Stonehenge was either being repaired or when it was being replicated in New York, like we have the historical records to prove, a rich lady had a replica of Stonehenge erected in New York. So when these old pictures surface, people like my lunch break show these on there and try to get you to doubt the integrity of the historical record. Well, if you're from the United Kingdom, if you're from England, especially Southern England, if you live anywhere around Wiltshire, or you're in the United States and you have kinfolk that can be traced back to the Wiltshire area, you should be offended, because this is theft of your culture. And for me to publish some BS like that, you're literally shitting on my research. I'm not going to have it. I will defend the integrity of my research, and if that means calling you out for your shill shit, I'm going to do it. Simple as that. So we'll see, because I got several bones to pick with my lunch break. So I hope he comes on the channel, because he needs to show everybody his face. A lot of these guys that have these like AI generated channels, AI generated content, using AI generated images, trying to tell us these are from the historical record. No, man, no, I'm not trying to hear it. I'm not the one. I'm not. So yeah, if I've got material in my published books where I'm asserting something as a fact, and I am staking my reputation on it, my reputation as a researcher, an author, someone who has a passion for an integrity for the truth, then no, you're not going to just freely post some BS and think I'm not going to call it out. That's not going to happen. On another note, these are the last three. Big John's going to get these this week. I have already imaged, took pictures, and PDF'd over 500 pages of fairy tales and folklore from the 1800s for children. Amazing. I haven't done these yet. These are new finds here. Amazing things. Oh, this is falling apart. This is almost turning into dust in my hands. Amazing. I don't even want to open it right now. This is wrapped in plastic, but they're all fully illustrated for kids. And here's another one. When John's done, I'm going to PDF it. I've been promising it to you guys for a while, but somebody recently educated me on something. You know, I'm not real knowledgeable about how to do these things, but I have very valuable texts. And I have spent this is not an exaggeration, guys. In the last 2.5 years, I've spent over $50,000 on old books that I want to share on YouTube. This right here just right here by itself was $1,400. And I don't really want to keep them. I want to PDF them. These are famous from the 1800s. These are hand illustrated. Every plant in North America and what you can do with it, all the medicines you can make with it, everything is meticulously illustrated. Every plant, you can go in your backyard using these books and identify everything. Well, Big John's going to be taking pictures of this as well, and I'm going to PDF them and provide them as a book because they're not covered by copyright. These are from the 1870s. So the artwork is fantastic because they look identical to the real specimens you find all over, even Texas. Beautiful. So these books are very old, but they show exactly what all their properties are, basically how you cook them, how you make them, to make anything. Everything that afflicts the human body, there is a natural component or components to help you put these things together. So this is I want to do this too, but the reason is because these were an investment to me. I don't intend on. There's a lot of books. I like history and chronology, but I have a bunch of receipts books, medical books, scientific books, cookbooks from the 1800s. I want to PDF them and provide you guys something cheap, $5 a PDF. And then I can put these up for sale to an errant, anybody in the archaics community who would value these and treasure these because they are treasures. But my library is way more massive than I'm able to put in this building. So this is what I plan on doing, PDF and a lot of books. I just didn't know how until recently. I got an email and somebody educated me on how fast I can actually render JPEGs into PDFs and get this done. And I can upload them to Podia and you guys can have them as downloads. So, and in that way, I'll be able to get my money back because Big John will tell you, he traveled with me, spread throughout 9 different trips across the United States. Big John and I spent well over 50 grand in old books. I'd like to get a lot of that money back, but I'd like to do it and make sure that I provide value because I know somebody's going to want these. And all I'm asking for is the original price that's inside that the antique bookstore sold it to me for. That's all I want. Anyway, so this is what you have. This coming pretty fast. This is all the kids' fairy tales. If it was a book published in paper, it would be huge. It would be huge. I think I'm going to sell the PDF for $4 or $5. You can't beat that because these old fairy tales books for children are all from the 1800s. There's about 10 of them in this one PDF, and they came from all different places in the United States wherever we found them. They're getting rarer and rarer. So that's on the agenda this week with Big John. Oh, sharing some other things. So somebody sent me a book by I.C. Peach showing the Great Pyramid internal arrangements are a combustion engine. I have not read this yet. I think it came with another book. But this is something that's very interesting to me for obvious reasons. You guys know I've long held the Great Pyramid is a technolithic structure. Very detailed information in here. So we'll be getting into that. I want you guys to check out this little device. I'm going to order some from her because you guys know I got my property. I do some gardening. Check out this Aaron ad.
To show you the quickest and easiest way for you to compost your food scraps at home with these Go Eco compost buckets. You simply find a spot anywhere in your garden, dig in the compost bucket, fill it with all of your kitchen food scraps, twist the locking lid on and let the bugs and worms do the rest. So you order yours today from the Go Eco Store website, and happy composting. It's so easy, even the kids can do it.
Yeah, we'll be doing that one again. Yeah, we'll be playing that one again. It's oi, oi, oi. She's an Aussie. Matt Kubas, how you doing, bro? I ain't seen you in a while. I'm going to drop that email here in a little bit. Some of y'all can come on the screen with me, ask your questions. Hello, Monica Farrow. I garden and compost. I know you do. I used to talk to you for hours on your tractor. I've been knowing Monica for a long time. Yeah, man. So that was Ladine Smith. Ladine Smith has that little operation going. I thought that was pretty cool. So we'll play that again before the end of the video, and Ladine's ad, as well as Corey Stern hasn't, her ads coming up real soon too. But Danny, the astrologer, she's her ads, all those ads are going to be on archaix.com. They're going to have their own page full of just errant business. I think that'll be fun. I know somebody did not ask me, Jason, does the Phoenix have feathers? Louis Strongarm, yours is a name that is very new to me. But if I get another question like that, you know what it is. Did I see Jahara in here? I'm going through the chat right now. So, what do I got here? That's the end. I need to get rid of that. That's my intro. Remove that from studio. So, Howdy Mikowski. Many of you know the names. I've only been in one video with Howdy. I didn't know anything about his background. Autodidactic invited Howdy and I, and we did a podcast, all three of us together. I've never seen the man, never heard of him in my life. He was new to me. I did not know that some of my ideas and theories are pretty much counter productive to what Howdy promotes. Didn't know that at the time. Anyway, I've got 3 of Howdy Mikowski's books. I'm going to tell you now. He's written Fallen for the Truth, A Spiritual Death and Awakening, right here. Now, I'm going to tell you straight out. Howdy Mikowski should write a whole series on human spirituality. He should. I would 100% endorse that in Archaix. Every time he came out with a new book, I would be taking plugs from it and sharing it on my channel. Howdy Mikowski is no doubt in my mind a very spiritual individual. This book has some gems in it, and I'm going to share them with you as time goes by. He also wrote The Power of Then, Revealing Egypt's Lost Wisdom. This is the revised and updated version, Howdy Mikowski. Both of his books are very large. They're very well researched. He's a good communicator. So I'm impressed. Both of his books. This book is very good. The only reason I would give it a negative remark is because I'm not really into the mysticism. And he kind of leans that way here and there, but not a lot, but still the book is valuable. So if you're looking for something to read, these 2 books have my recommendation. These are 2 books that are worth being on the shelf of your library, especially the spiritual book. It's like, wow, okay, this is really nice temperament. This is a good change here. This is hope. Taking the darkness out of the world is good. So these two books I would recommend from Howdy. I don't know if he's written other books. I just don't know. I just don't know. Except for this one. He did write this one. This is where Howdy Mikowski and I are going to go in different directions. Now, doesn't mean he's a bad fellow. Doesn't mean I'm right and he's wrong. But you guys did see my video the other day. Very compelling. Very compelling. I have the books. I have the books, guys. I know a lot of people. They want to make a big hubbub about these World's Fairs. And you guys know, I literally have two books from the 1800s on the World's Fairs right here. This one actually came out the same year. The World's Fair 1893 was ongoing. It's all information in real time. There's no mysteries in these books. Yeah, they were heroic architectural projects, but they involved hundreds of thousands of people. Yeah. There wasn't a simple crew that came in because the Venezuelans, the Colombians, the El Salvadorians, the Mexicans, the Cubans, the Russians, the French, the Lebanese, the Chinese, they all sent their own architects. They all sent their own artisans. They all sent their own crews to build their own parts. This was like the Olympics. It was huge. It was huge. And there's no mystery as to why they quit doing them. You just have to go into the specialist literature. These guys using the internet for their source materials are the very guys I've been warning you about from the inception of my channel. That's why Archaix uses nothing but the actual historical record. We're not going by the internet. You can't. Internet is just tainted because of everything it doesn't tell you. Let me tell you what it doesn't tell you. What it doesn't tell you is that by the 1890s, the World's Fairs were viewed as a threat to the establishment. A threat. What are you talking about, Jason? Well, I'm talking about Carnegie, Rockefeller, and Rothschild. They viewed the World's Fairs as a threat to their economic sovereignty, because at the World's Fairs, free exchange of ideas was going on, and technology was exponentially increasing decade by decade by decade, starting with the World Fairs in 1851, going all the way to 1893. After 1900, there was one more, 1904. One big one. After 1904, they shut that shit down. They could not have that free exchange. They had already decided they were going to go with oil and gas. They already decided they were going to go with AC current instead of DC. They had already made these decisions and put hundreds of millions of dollars in investment infrastructure in, and they weren't going to have these World's Fairs coming in with all these great minds coming together, coming up with free energy technology. There's no reset here. There's no mysteries, what I'm telling you. It was an economic takeover. That's what it was. So the mystery of the World's Fairs, that's what Howdy Mikowski is going into. And I'm going to disagree with John Levy. I'm going to disagree with this guy here. I don't even know who he is, David Edward. Yeah, I'm going to disagree with all three of them. And they're all welcome on my channel. Anytime they want to discuss these things, I'm going to disagree. Because we had the technology, we had the engineering. I just showed them. And I've got so many books. I've been told in several emails and in the comment sections for me to slow down. And what I mean is the majority of my community agree that my last two videos on the 1800s sealed the deal. But I have two more videos on the 1800s prepared. I want to do. But a lot of people are telling me don't do it. Don't even worry about it. But I got a whole library full of books after the Civil War that absolutely prove we have the technology to do all this stuff. And we had the population. And we had the infrastructure already in place to do these things. It is so ridiculous to see, like my lunch break post a picture of cowboys and Indians saying they're trying to tell us that during these days We built this, and then show this Greek revivalist architecture from 1840. It's ridiculous. Even right now, we've got people in the Congo butt-ass naked chasing rabbits with a stick. Right now. But 45 minutes down the road from Willis, Texas, right here, where I'm surrounded by farm boys who are still digging their own wells, still raising their own rabbits. They're still out there mulching their own fields with cow shit and dog shit. 45 minutes down the road are 1,000-foot high steel and glass skyscrapers full of tens of thousands of computers and laptops. Showing a picture of one area of the world is never an argument for how the rest of the world is operating. It's a dumb argument. It's dumb. So, I got problems with these books. I'm going to itemize them. You know, to be fair, I'm going to be polite as hell. I've got no problem with John Levy personally, or this other guy, David Grant, or Howdy Mikowski. But I'm a published author. They have entered into my field. Once you release a published book, Jay Dreamer's got the business. Billy Carson got the business. Matt LaCroix got the business. I'm not going to hold back. Although these men, I hold them in higher esteem than I do them. These guys right here, though, they have put out a bunch of information, and I disagree. There's no reset in the 1800s. There's only a suppression of technology, and we know what the tiny hats have been up to. You don't want to mention the tiny hats, then you must be in bed with them. It's as simple as that. All these channels and all these guys putting out information about all the secret stuff that happened, but you don't want to name who the perpetrators are. It's because you are funded by them or you're in bed with them. That makes you untrustworthy. So, it's free game. Don't get mad at me. We'll get this Q&A. I'm doing show and tell right now. I'm almost done. Then we'll get this Q&A out the way. This right here, so old, the covers have deteriorated. What I'm holding right now is falling apart. It's not in good condition at all. This is original paper from 1851, August 23rd. 1851, original newspaper, original magazine. Really interesting stuff. The reason I'm showing this to you, and I'm going to do blow-ups. I'm going to photograph it so everybody can see it. But it's literally talking about the great exposition of 1851 before it starts. And it's talking about the general excitement in the publication about so many people from all over the world coming to participate in this exposition. There's no mystery here. No mystery here. Again, these right here, I'm not opening these until I do the video. These will not be opened until I do the video about these books. This is St. Louis Post-Dispatch. The greatest of the world's fairs impressively opened on the first day. 186,672 people showed up. 1904 exposition, right there at the top. 1904. This is the last great exposition. They kind of petered out after this. We'll open this up together and see what it says. But here is a newspaper that has survived since 1904 when it talked about the 1904 exposition. Here's a newspaper that survived since 1906. This is from April 19th, 1906, showing original photographs of San Francisco before and after San Francisco was wiped off the map in a 1906 earthquake. Reason I'm showing this is because there's a lot of people trying to say they don't understand old San Francisco. San Francisco has buildings that are way older. Now, listen, man, San Francisco was a part of an infrastructure before the United States was even developed. It belonged to Spain. It was a fort. There was military presence here. There were also Asians here, maybe from China. I don't know. But there was a lot of older stone buildings, but they only date from the 1600s. There's no mystery here. None. So yeah, Chicago. I mean, San Francisco, like Chicago, was laid out and rebuilt on top. It's pancaked. So anyway, it's not just San Francisco. It's a whole series of coastal cities. It's all in here. It talks about here coastal cities all wrecked by the disaster. Wow. So we'll be going through that too. I got 2 more things to share, and then I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna let you ask some questions. So yeah, we have to go. People, I got people who want to defend. Like when I'm on Twitter, I'm trying to draw people out. Like I ain't gonna lie, I was trying to draw my lunch break out. I'm trying to engage in the comments with him because it's really easy by asking the right questions to show the public what people truly do and do not know, and what they can and cannot support. So I don't get him. He doesn't come out, but he's got his little defenders, and they're all like little bots. They all got like 2 or 3 followers. It's like you got a whole bunch of these accounts all attached to you. They got no followers, and nobody knows who they are. It's just crazy, and they're toxic. Some of them are toxic. But I engaged with one of them earlier today and just and asked them. Although no, they talked about, well, I mean, shoot, if we already know that books can lie. Look, the media lies. That's a really good argument. But like every other argument, you have to put it in its proper context. A book written in 1973 about events in 1803 could be redacted, full of lies. It's probably not very trustworthy. Yeah, 100%. I'm in agreement with you. But if I'm showing you actual books from 1803 about events that were transpired in 1802, shut up. Just shut up. That's a dumb argument now. Put into its proper context, it's a super dumb argument. So what if there are slight little deviations and nuances from the truth by 1803 from 1802? The 1803 book still couldn't rewrite the whole history. It's not like World War II ended in 1945. Well, there are no books published in 1946 that told the whole story of the whole war, rewriting it, changing every detail. That didn't happen. Those books didn't show up to the 1980s and 90s. Yeah, guys, it doesn't. You got to put your arguments into context. I get so tired of people unqualified to even comment. You'd be surprised, guys. You know what? Sometimes I go right back to the teenage mode. I'm in the comment section just spitboxing. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy what people think is an argument, and when it's not. This coffee's so real. So I got two more things to share. This last thing I'm saving for last because it blew my mind. Somebody sent this to me, and I have no idea what it is. I'm going to show that last. This right here, I don't know why I haven't been showing you guys this. I talked about it for 6 months before I released them. I don't know why. I've been needing to show you this. This is how you receive them in the mail when you order them. But so many people don't want to order. See, this one hasn't even been opened. I'm opening this one myself. So many people have ordered my charts in PDF, but they want charts they can put in plastic in 3-ring binders. Well, you can do that now because we had these beautifully made. These are beautiful. 207, all the Archaix charts. Black and white if they're black and white, color if they're color. 207 Archaix charts right here. These are the charts, full color, high glossy. This is them right here. Everything you need to know about all this Archaix research, the chronology. There is a lot of charts in here. It's 207. I got to flip through them fast. I'm about to drop it. It's just too many. This is the chart pack, 207. I'm not sure if that's on the Shopify. It's supposed to be. If it's not on the Shopify, I'll get it put on there tomorrow. Last but not least, before we start this Q&A, I don't know what this is. If you're the one that sent this to me, you need to send me a detailed letter what this is, because I'm blown away. It's got all kinds of old looking paper, real wax seals. It's real wax seals. All medieval artwork, all this old style paper. I've never seen anything like this. I have the Seals of Solomon right here. I have the book. Why can I never find anything? I'm gonna find it in just a second. I have the book Seals of Solomon. I don't know what these are. I do not know what these are. But yeah, this is crazy. What in the hell is this? They're different seals and sigils, all kinds of symbols, sigils, seals. They're all different. Whole bag full of coins. This isn't all of them. Listen, all of these are different. I don't know what they mean. I'm not into this type of stuff, although I research it. It's full. This thing is absolutely packed. I don't even know. Might be 70 something coins in there. And that's not the only one. Here's the other one. Here's the other one. This is something totally different. Man, these look evil. This thing's full of them. There might be 100 in there. What is this? What did you send me? These look like pirate coins, old Spanish doubloons. I don't know what these are. So it came in this box. Came with these. I don't know what these are either. Okay, you know what? Maybe y'all know more better if I show you the box. There's a lot of information on every single card. And every single card is different. And even the backs are different. I don't know what this is. And there's a whole bunch of these cards. There's two of these huge decks. There's two of them. Y'all will have to educate me on this. This is a little beyond this is higher my pay grade. These are beautiful. I don't know what these are, but these are beautiful. Like tarot cards, maybe? I don't think they're tarot cards. They're also different. They're also different. I don't know what they are. Maybe it's somebody's homemade system. I don't know. A lot of Hebrew in there. They might have sent me a tiny head demon, for all I know. Trying to turn old Jason into a golem. Ain't gonna happen. That's never gonna happen with me, guys. 100%. We can talk about that today too in Q&A. But I am greater than anything that could ever happen to me. And when I need to, I'm always able to draw from myself more than I contain. And that includes information. Yeah, so there's a whole, I just haven't read this. There's a lot of stuff in here. This is sealed. I haven't opened it and broke the seal and seen what's in it yet. Just a lot of stuff. If you're the one, you might want to come on my channel and talk about this. Get all this together. This is crazy. I'm going to put that aside for something pops out of it. Happened when I was in prison one time. The guy was messing with the wrong stuff. He was looking at the page, and the thing on the page jumped out the page and attacked him. I told that story before. Only supernatural experience I've ever had in my life, and it didn't happen to me. It happened to somebody else close to me. Michael Mott. Is there a rabbit's foot? M.R. Lemus. All right. Jamie Robbins, you remember the story well. Michael Mott. All right. So I'll tell you what. Let me look at something real quick. So archaix138@gmail.com. archaix138@gmail.com. You want to pop on the screen here and ask me a question? Get to it. Here it is on the screen. I just posted it for you. That's the email. That's the email. Let's see if I have any. See if I had any more. If I had any more announcements. Right. Look at this email right here. Okay, there we go. Live chat. Let's see. I'm just looking for. Okay. I just gave y'all the wrong email. I just totally. Hey, Grindle Dark, how you doing? I totally gave y'all the wrong email. I think. Sure did. I sure did. I'm gonna have to use this other email, archaixlive@gmail.com. I've got two studio laptops. This is not the laptop that's even plugged into Archaix 138. I need you, if you want to come on the channel, it needs to be Archaix Live. I'm sorry. Moderators, please correct that. It's right here. Archaix Live. That's the only way I'm going to see it from this computer. There it is. I just posted it. Archaix Live. So Grindle, switch over to Archaix Live so I can drop the link to you. I can't even access Archaix 138 here. That's on my other laptop. Oh, Noah Papas, switch over to the Archaix Live. Appreciate it. You two switch over, and everybody else just use the Archaix Live. And I'm in there right now. As soon as you pop in, I'm gonna bring you in. So good. Yeah, Grindle, switch on over so I can see you. Somebody's mentioning Max Egan. Was he here? I need to talk to Max. It's been a while since I talked to Max. Hey, I see you, Grindle. All right, let me drop this link in here. Let me find this link. Invite. Grindle Dark has been to every Houston meetup. He hasn't missed a beat. Hasn't missed a beat. Well, there goes my dog. He keeps on barking, then the other dog's going to bark down the street. Then I got a goat pasture over here on this side, and those dogs that protect those goats are going to start barking. Then I got my pits are inside the barn while I'm on the video, and if they start hearing all that, they're going to start providing bark support from inside, and it's just going to be a cacophony. Oh, come on, Grindle, I sent you that link. All right, Papas, send you that link. Noah, have I talked to you before? Noah, you got the link too? Stephen Houghton. I don't know much about the rainbow serpent. Which culture are you talking about? I'll still let you come in. I don't, you're asking me something I really don't know much about. If you're talking about Quetzalcoatl, talk about that. Okay, it's a good question, William Rogers. Go ahead and come on in and ask it. Sent you the link just now. Yeah, man, I'm all for that. A lot of people have kids. They're worried about the future of their kids. It's a good question. Good question. Who is this stranger right here?
Hey, Jason.
Let me find out you sitting in a parking lot in the dark somewhere.
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm real good. How are you? I got your package and I got your email. Truth be told, I have 4 different people now spread among 6 emails, and I'm so far behind, and I'm trying to catch up. I'm just not. I'm so far behind in emails, dude. You don't even believe it. I keep a file. Once they've been answered, they go into my answered box. But it's just, you know what? I get more emails a day than I'm able to even entertain now. So I'm kind of, I don't know. Sooner or later, I may hire somebody just to come over and do emails.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
So you're on the outside of Austin. You're like 3 hours from me, right?
Yeah, I live like down like south of Austin a little bit. Like,
okay, all right.
Yeah.
Cool. What kind of question you got today?
Well, basically, I've been like rereading like a bunch of like by David Hatcher children's books on the lost cities, like especially the lost
those are
cities.
good books. Hey, remember? I know you've been on my channel for a long time, so you know I've been highly praising his research and his books and all that. So you know why I'm equally discouraged by the fact that he's on the Ancient Aliens.
Oh yeah, I kind of am too, because he was actually one of my favorite people on that show. Because at the beginning of that show, he stuck to like weird stuff in history. He never really pushed the alien stuff, but now it seems like he kind of is. And
that's his bread and butter, man.
On that.
That's his bread and butter now.
But yeah, basically, I wanted to pick your brain on what other books, you suggest like on ancient like Mesoamerican history are good to like get into, like about the true history about like the Inca, the Maya, and all that.
Okay, look, your journey needs to start if you have not already started. If you want to study ancient American antiquities, pre-Columbian, before what Europeans influenced it, you really need to read Frank Waters. One of his most important books is called The Book of the Hopi, and because the Hope, it's fantastic. It's a big book. It's a fantastic book. It goes into Hopi prophecy, ancient traditions, what the Hopi believed. A lot of the things I've told you about the pre-flood world, vapor canopy world, some of that came out of the Book of the Hopi.
Okay.
But yeah, that's where I would start. That's where I would start. If you ever want to drive your ass over here to Willis, Texas, since I know you're pretty good, you can spend a day right here with me in my library, and I can show you some amazing books I haven't had a chance to share on YouTube yet because I'm constrained by time. But I have some books from the 1800s about what was being discovered, about what the Native Americans were telling the settlers, and it's not the stuff that's entered into our history books today. It's not what they teach you in high school and college. Man, they were talking about wars with the white men long before white men were supposed to be here. They're talking about all kinds of things that were going on in ancient North America. It's pretty interesting stuff, and like I said, since I know you, my whole Archaix team knows you. Anytime you want to, man, let me know. Set a date aside, and if you're willing to come over, if you're willing to make that 3-hour drive, you can spend the day right here in my studio, and I will show you some fantastic books.
Yeah, that sounds great. I mean, my mom lives down in Santa Fe, so I go down to the Houston area like all the time.
Okay, yeah, man,
that sounds great.
Hit me up with the email, and when I see that, I'll know that you want to come visit, man. And it ain't nothing. We can set up a day, because there's some days where I'm on my motorcycle going. We live kind of far apart. Big John's 45 minutes away. Cole lives right here in Willis, and Barry lives about an hour away. So I'm on my bike a lot if I'm not in the van. But when I'm here all day. I don't go anywhere. I don't go anywhere. And you know, I got property across the street back and forth, and I just make sure that there's always people here, because you already know I've been a target in the past, and there's always people on these properties before I leave. If everybody's running errands and doing stuff, shit, I don't care. I'll stay here. I'm not going anywhere. But as long as there's people here, yeah, I'll take off. So just hit me up, man. We'll spend a day. We'll spend a day going through these books. Hell, we might even do a video live and just show everybody all these books I'm showing you.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like an awesome idea.
Yeah, we can do all that. Yeah, but for now,
try to find that's pretty much all I had.
Try to find a PDF. Try to find a PDF free. If not, get on Amazon. Shouldn't be more than $12. It's paperback, but it's called The Book of the Hopi. The author is Frank Waters. Any other book he's written on Native American antiquities, you need to read those too. But the reason I'm telling you about it is because in his bibliography, he's going to take you to several other really good authors that are going to take you even deeper. So that's where you get your start, with Frank Waters.
All right. Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Oh, I'm not done with you yet. Do me a favor and send me an email reminder. And after this video, I will send you a PDF from 1824 on ancient American antiquities of Kentucky. It's amazing. Check it out.
Okay, sure.
All right, bro. I'll holler at you later.
All right. Have a good day.
All right. Who is this? Is this Noah?
This is Noah. Hey, Jason. Hey, everyone.
How you doing, man?
Pretty good. Can you guys hear me okay?
I can. Yeah, I can hear you. It's
okay.
It's kind of deep. It's kind of deep. Got a lot of bass in your, but it's all right. Everybody can understand you.
Okay. All right. Hey, everybody. So my question for you, Jason, appreciate everything you do, first of all. Learned a lot from you. My journey, 4 years ago, I went from, just so you kind of understand where I'm coming from, Christian my whole life. And then I kind of studied my way out and went more like Messianic, more the Hebrew side, stepped back from there and went almost like Old Testament only. Not like all Jewish, just more of a spin-off of it. But anyways, that's kind of what I've held my belief to, just the Old Testament. Then I took a road through like spiritual, just all that stuff. I mean, everything esoteric, applying a little bit like meditation, but not like crazy stuff. I mean, pretty basic things like that, meditation stuff. And then I got put on to you. And that's what really opened my eyes to everything. My question, knowing that, and then if I bring in like Santos Bonacci into the picture, what I'm trying to understand in my mind is when you talk about like the New Testament and the teachings in red, the words in red. I mean, I agree with all of that. I think you're spot on, but I'm trying to, what perspective do I hold that up against to when we're looking at like, you know, all those teachings align with, you know, what Buddha said, what Krishna said. You know, it's all basically the same thing. So I'm just wondering where do you stand and put that in your category with how you view all that stuff? Because it all seems to flow together, that syncretism, you know, the internal. That's my question, if it makes sense.
Yeah, I do get it. I understand where you're coming from. At this point in my journey, I can remove the cultural attachments to any belief system I come in contact with, and I can reduce things down to their core fundamentals. And when I do, I see there's no difference between original Christianity and Buddhism. I see that there's no difference than what the Brahmanas and the Puranic texts were conveying than the later Buddhist texts, and the later Buddhist texts from what the earliest Christian principles were. I don't see any differences. Anytime differences are found, they are differences in degree, not substance. When it comes to the core spiritual material, it's all the same, and we either resonate with it or we don't. And what really hangs people up is not the information itself. It's the filters they've been trained to look through, such as I was trained to look through the world as a Southern Baptist. You were trained to look through the world through another denomination. Others are trained to look through the world through whatever their upbringing brought them. So it's our own cultural, it's our own attachments to ideas and to the world around us that infect the very things that we're examining, because we impose restrictions on phenomena that the phenomena itself is bereft of. It doesn't have these restrictions. We put them there. We do it all the
Right.
time. That's why I have to be very careful when I'm taking people's comments and I don't misinterpret them, because I often misinterpret them, but because sometimes I'm assuming people are either on my level, or I'm assuming someone's nowhere near my level, and yet they are. And the question they asked me is far more complex than I gave them credit for. So that's my fault. It's my fault,
Right.
because I had made assumptions that was something I had come in contact with. So I'm going to tell you my best advice. My best advice. First of all, spirituality can be found anywhere, because every bit of this is spirit. Everything we perceive in physical reality is just a vibration of spirit. It's a different vibration, and different vibrations are perceived in different ways. It gives us this illusion of physicality. It is an illusion because in order to make it happen, it has to be a process of filters that we know of as a central nervous system to make this possible for us, because we're spirits. And we're spirits of high vibration, being immortal, literally wearing low vibrational skins that belong to an even lower vibrational construct, just in order to be able to move through it.
Right.
So
Right. No, that makes sense.
The problem we have is actually easily solved if we enter every single thing that we come into contact with. A stranger at Walmart, somebody sitting next to you at the airport. Doesn't matter if you're sitting in traffic and your window's open and there's a passenger in the next vehicle and their window's open. Every single time there is an awareness of anything around you, there is an exchange of information. And the way you can navigate all this to the maximum benefit spiritually is to enter every single exchange with a blank slate. Do not have any preconceptions about any individual you come into contact with, and that's how you get your maximum gain. And as long and now you have to understand, just because I understand core fundamentals on human spirituality doesn't mean I'm perfect. It doesn't mean I'm perfect. I promise you, I am not a paragon. I'm not an example. I'm not something to be exemplified. I have learned by trial and error. And I understand these things through application and years of meditating on these things.
Would you say it's? Would you say almost? It's like almost like self-realization. Is that more so without any doctrine, any books attached? Like almost that's basically what all the cultures are trying to say it the same thing, right?
Okay, imagine a scenario where the oversoul being all powerful creates a situation where it can shed from itself hundreds of millions of little personalities that all get to enjoy things that it itself really can't enjoy, because it's already all. Being infinite, it's already existed beyond anything that it could possibly experience. But it wants to enjoy other experiences, so it creates these personalities which are equally it. Those personalities are sent into another aspect of the all. It's just vibrating at a lower frequency, so it's perceived as physicality. Now it can be happy, it can be sad, it can feel pain, it can go through all these different things. Well, imagine what the oversoul is going to do after building this construct, after building multiple constructs, after giving life to so many individual personalities. The reason these individual personalities were given individuality is so that the oversoul can experience even more. It can live through us. So imagine its distress when one of its little fractalized pieces of personality that it gave immortality to and sent on this beautiful journey, all of a sudden wants to spend their entire life with their legs folded, sitting on a hill, pretending like they can just go inside themselves and meditate. It's already done that for eons. It's not trying to do that anymore. Yeah, I have never, ever seen. I just don't understand the whole idea of people thinking that monks sitting all their lives doing absolutely nothing but meditation are in some way holy. It's completely antithetical to anything I believe spirituality. Spirituality is about living. Life is about living. That's why we're here. And if you choose not to live, I believe you don't deserve to live. So I can only imagine from the perspective of the oversoul how frustrating it must be, sending all these souls in here to do all these things, and a bunch of them all just fall straight into loops of dungeon programming, thinking it's just perfectly acceptable to not do anything, be in stasis, go to the same geographical location with everybody else that believes the same thing, sing the same things, which is giving off the same frequency. Everybody in resonance, which is empowering that dungeon loop. And I can only imagine its frustration. Hell, if I so I would want to invent a system of resets too, because I got to break this stuff up so they'll quit doing it. So I probably went farther than you were alluding to in your question, but to fully answer your question, man, it's just so easy to enter every dialogue, every relationship, and every encounter with a blank slate, and then move from there. And if you're up against opposition, shoot, you have all the moral high ground to give somebody the business if they open that door. But if they don't, you got to be neutral, you got to be spiritual, you got to be forgiving, you got to be understanding, you got to be patient. But as soon as you come in contact with a soul that's not giving you that reciprocation, you have all the power of the oversoul behind you to put that individual in their place. There's nothing about me that's passive. Now, I don't believe that human spirituality was ever designed to be passive. I believe that passivity is taught to us in order that we obey.
Okay. No, I appreciate it. I'll let you guys get some other turns in here.
Stick around, Noah. I got some big projects on the horizon, so I'm probably going to be doing some back-to-back Q&As because I got Martin Leakey and I are working on a project together, and we want to make sure it's absolutely perfect. So we're having to spend some time. So it's easier for me to do these Q&As because they don't require any preparation. So you guys can expect 2 or 3 Q&As back to back before we drop a bomb on you guys.
Okay. Are you guys gonna make your way to Chicago at all?
Yeah, we're gonna have to go up north. Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to go up north. Too many people are asking us now. I don't think. Cool. I think if we don't come up anywhere toward Chicago, New York area, I don't think Dr. Corey Stern is going to stay with Archaix much longer. She's getting stressed out.
All right, later, Jason. I'll be back.
All right, man. Who we got here?
Hi, Jason. How are you?
Vardath, have I talked to you before?
No, not yet.
Okay. Well, you have a disposition that's familiar to me and a voice.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
The rainbow serpent. I believe that the rainbow serpent could be a gigantic ocean-sized current of plasma under the Earth, under the flat Earth. And I think it could be either the Phoenix or it could be related to the Black Sun or Nibiru or Nemesis X or whatever that could be. And I think they exist under the Earth. And every 792 years, when the Black Sun rises and stays for 60 years, it becomes the dream time. And the rainbow serpent is a current of plasma that flies around in the sky then. When it rises, it bites the sun. And when that happens, I think the sun reverses direction and polarity. And it sinks between Antarctica and South America. And there's scarring in the ocean floor if you look on Google Earth. And it's happened at least twice. But before I was Mandela affected, there was just one scar. So I'd like your thoughts on this, if possible.
Well, okay. I'm no expert on this, but I'm just going to offer a scenario. If what you're telling me is true, there is a long-standing tradition concerning the rainbow serpent. This is something that you've researched. You're not talking about Quetzalcoatl, right?
No. But it could be the same thing.
So I've heard somebody ask me about the rainbow serpent before. Now, so let's assume it's true that there is a long-standing tradition attached to the rainbow serpent. It has something to do with the ocean. So therefore, it would be a mariner tradition, something that sailors would have told each other about. This is something that would have been frequented in bars and stuff in port cities, harbors, all over the Atlantic. So, assuming that to be true, and yet you're talking about a subterranean current that later became a tradition called the rainbow serpent, and that affects, then I'm going to have to say that what you're describing is something like cargo cult phenomenon, a technologically advanced concept from the distant past when we had technology, because that's what Archaix is about, showing we had technology in the ancient past. An advanced concept that was told over and over and over to a post-reset society. The reason we know they're post-reset is because the tradition was continued, but in frames of reference that became more and more simplified, more and more mythological, more and more cartoonish over time. So that's the only thing I can really offer as to how a myth of the rainbow serpent could actually be a memory of something that was scientifically known about this Atlantic current. This isn't something I've ever researched. It does sound interesting, but I just don't know enough about it. But when it comes to transatlantic voyages, I do have a lot of information starting with the 11th century BC Phoenicians, going all the way up to the days of the pre-Columbian times, the Syro-Phoenicians, the Libyans, the Egyptians, Jewish fleets. Everybody's been here to Central and North America. There was a lot of navigation between the Americas and the ancient world. We found the cocaine in Egyptian mummies, coffee, all kinds of American things that are distinctly American in flora and fauna have been found in the Middle East, and this could have only been through transatlantic voyages. So, other than that, I can't offer anything else. It'd just be me around.
Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah,
and it's been a pleasure meeting you.
If you got a PDF about the rainbow serpent, or you have something to share about it, you can email that to me, and me and Big John will look at it.
Yep.
All right, Bart. Thank you. Would that be John Yuskin?
That's John Yuskin.
All right, man. All right. How you doing?
Jay. Really good. Yourself?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
I met you in Houston at the OFIS meetup.
Okay.
And I've read most of your books, and this book I've read a dozen times. I've read all of your books that you recommended, the Troll words and stuff. And my question is, how do I move out? How do I walk out onto my stage? Like I've been following you for about 3.5 to 4 years. And I thought I was on a slave planet before I met you. My whole view on life has changed. I've changed myself physically, but I haven't been able to walk out onto the stage and change who I am and move on. I was doing non-destructive testing, pipeline X-ray and stuff, and I lost my business during COVID. And then
Excellent question.
And so, just a little background. So I found your stuff, and I've just totally changed. Like I've mentally and everything. I'm just so positive and stuff. But I feel like I'm under attack by all the people around me, because I turned into a Christian at the time, and I've been under attack by everybody thinks I'm crazy, even discussing anything that you bring into the onto this, like what you bring onto the stage. If I discuss it, I just quit talking to everybody about it because they think I'm crazy. And so I've changed myself physically. What do I need to do to walk out onto my stage to rebuild myself, to ex nihilo, to get wealth and success and the spirit of opulence?
Excellent question. Let me just send a couple people more links. Just a second. I'm sending a couple more links out.
Yeah, so I've spent a lot of money in the last few years too. Like I haven't worked in the last 4 years, and I want to start another business, or actually do something new and different. And I need to get out there and walk on that stage, and I'm asking your advice.
Okay. So like I said from the beginning, John, that's a really good question. And from my own community, I want to call to their attention what you just said. You said, I've read all your books. I've read many of the books that you've endorsed, and that I've done this, but, and then you listed a bunch of things that are evidently your attachments, things that you're attached to. For some reason, you're not moving forward because you're attached to these things. I know you're attached to these things because you just mentioned them. But we're gonna move that. We're gonna move beyond that. So there comes a point in time, and this, everybody needs to pay attention to this. There comes a point in time when knowing becomes an impediment to doing. When you've accumulated so much information, you've literally put yourself in stasis. So you basically build a box of information around yourself. And once you've built that construction, which is entirely mental, it puts you in a stasis. It neutralizes your ability to navigate the field, because you're now doing it from within a box of information of things you've accepted to be true. It doesn't mean the things that you've accepted are not true. It just means that you have neutralized your ability to navigate through the field because you're overthinking all the variables because of everything you've learned. I have said this from the beginning of my channel. There comes a time when knowing becomes an impediment to doing. What you now need to do, since you've learned all these things, this is the hardest part. What you really need to do, the greatest experiences you'll ever have in life, is when you will divorce yourself from the very things that you have held precious to you. And it sounds like to me that you hold all this information as precious. That the key to navigating the construct, which I call in my prior presentations constructual navigation, the key is in the information you've learned from Archaix. And I'm telling you it's not true. I'm telling you that the key is already with you, has always been with you, and has been very, very quiet, just waiting for you to utilize it. Yes, you can gain value by listening to my presentations in Archaix because you're actually listening to somebody who's walked a very, very dark and lonely path for decades. And I came through all right. And I came through with a lot of information. And I freely divulge it. But in that journey, there's been many times where I've been where you're at. And I had to stop, reassess, let go. And my greatest blessings in life always came when I basically had told God I'd had enough. I've even cussed God out, thinking I did this, this, and this. I've been doing all this. I've met all this criteria. I've learned all these things. And why is my life like this? And then I would just have it out with God. And I'm telling you now, I would be embarrassed to admit to you right now the very things I called God. And within 2 or 3 weeks, I had an awesome life. Everything had changed for me. Patterns were totally broken. And it wasn't because I was destitute. And it had nothing to do with that. It was the very act of being angry at the oversoul and then acting on it, saying F this, and just not doing this research, not finishing this book, just throwing my Bible away, doing all this stuff. It was a pattern break. It was a pattern break that was so clean that it reverberated throughout everything that has any attachment to me in the field whatsoever. It was a pattern. And with pattern breaks, this is something I teach on Archaix all the time. The greatest changes that will ever come in your life are during the pattern break periods, because it's during those pattern breaks in your life that you're not moored to any attachments. You're free floating, and that's where all the potential lies. So I'm going to go back to what you first asked me. John, you asked me, what can I do to move forward, to be prosperous? Well, I'm going to answer it this way. The only way that's going to happen is for you to stop holding on to all these full list of things that you just mentioned to me. And the reason I want you to re-listen to this video is because you need to write down the very things you just told me in my community that you were attached to, because these are the very things you got to let go, man, because they came out of your mouth. You gave them power. Now they have power over you in the construct. You admitted this to another soul, therefore that attachment obtains. And it's so easy to break free of that. List that stuff up. You remember that ritual I told you guys about when I had $27 in my pocket and I was living in a wooden shack, and I told the construct that, man, I need $1,200 and I need it tomorrow. I need to start. I'm going to use it $1,200 and I'm going to build me a company. And I did. And for 3 years, my community watched me grow Paradise Rock Gardens and build all these fantastic stone structures for all these people who wanted them and who would pay me. And it was the same thing. I just wrote it down on a piece of paper. And then I quit letting it have power over me, and I burned it up in a candle. And I thanked the construct for burning the paper because I no longer needed it. And there was no need for that paper to exist because that paper contained what I wanted to come to pass. But there was no reason for it to exist anymore. So I thanked the fire and I thanked the construct for getting rid of that piece of paper. And I told you guys the story. Even shocked me when a woman accidentally gave me 2 $600 payments. It wasn't exactly the $1,200 I was expecting, but it happened anyway the very next day. And it launched me. Now look at me. And these are the principles I've been teaching on my channel from the beginning. And I applaud you for going through my books. I applaud you for reading Awaken the Immortal Within and understanding the construct. I applaud you for buying many of the books that I endorse. But equally so, John, I just touched the keyboard. Equally so, I'm going to tell you, we're not here the purpose of life is not to gain knowledge, because there's knowledge is a bottomless pit. And the more that we actually know about the operations of the construct, the more we find out there are gaps in our knowledge that cannot be filled. The more we learn about calendrics, the more we find out how complex the calendars of the construct really are. The more we learn about human nature, the more we find out that the bridge between what is human and what is spirit blurs. And you really can't define one without the other. So I'm just going to tell you, John, I believe that you're on the verge because you admitted that you've already done all these things. That right there is a self-admission. It's a self-awareness that you're at a point where what you've been doing isn't enough. So I encourage you to go back and re-listen to what you just told the whole community and write those very things down, and then make a contract with you and the Oversoul saying, hey man, you can have all this. I'm ready for the next ride. What's the next phase for me? And then break pattern. Quit sitting at home. Break pattern. Go to a store you've never been to before. Go sit in a coffee shop you've never been to before, and go by circuitous routes that you've never taken before. Break pattern. And I promise you, you won't be the next time you'll come into my chat, you'll be talking about all the awesome things that have happened to you and how your life has changed, like so many other people have.
Awesome. Thanks,
Just write that list, brother. Write that list and give it to the construct. Be done with it. And just remember, man, sometimes knowing is an impediment to receiving. Knowing can be an impediment to moving forward. Knowing can be an impediment to learning. Yeah, sometimes you just got to break pattern, man. Start from scratch. Come back. You never know, man. 2 weeks from now, you could be in a totally different world. We might live in the same world, but we'll be in totally different universes. Things will be happening for you.
Thank you, Jason.
Yeah, man. I'm going to go on to, who is this? Conscious Souls Thrive? I'll holler at you later, John.
See you, Jason. Thank you.
What's up, bud?
Hey, what's going on, Jason?
Oh, man, your audio's great. Yeah, I can hear you pretty good. Awesome.
So I had wrote down 2 questions for you.
All right.
The first one that came to mind was about the AI nowadays and why it would want to make itself more known now, even though, like you said, like it's been around basically forever. but it's always operated in the darkness, and it's got its energy, accumulation or storage for whatever it uses it for, through doing it through means of almost deceit or fuckery, I guess, for less of a better word. But so why would it want to be making itself more known nowadays when it's always done that in the underground, basically?
Okay. First of all, I'm just curious. Where are you hailing from? Where you at?
I'm in Shelby Township, Michigan.
Okay, Michigan. All right. I need to start asking people that. I know where some people are from, but this is the first time I talk to you.
Yeah.
So
I've been following you for a couple years, but I've never really, I guess, done anything like this. So.
that's all right. First time for everything.
Yes,
So
sir.
it's a good question, and I have a theory. That I guess I don't know. I don't know if how close it is to other theories because I was made aware about a year ago or about a year and a half ago that man, I can't remember that guy. What is that guy's name? That he wrote a book. He's really heavy into the Gnosis Pistis Sophia. He claims Sophia is an ancient AI or whatever. I can't remember, man. John Lamb Lash. That's his name. That just came. Hey, I pulled that out the field, guys. John Lamb Lash. So I don't know how close it is to his theory, but because when we review like Thomas Campbell, Tom Campbell's not my big toe. I'm talking about the anthropologist historian Thomas Campbell, who wrote some really penetrating books on ancient mythology and all this. This the oldest traditions around the world. It cannot be a coincidence. It doesn't matter where you go. If it's the ancient Native Americans, if it's South Americans, it doesn't matter if you go to the Inuits in the Alaska, Siberian area. It doesn't matter if you go to deepest Congo, go to Africa, the sub-Saharan basin. It doesn't matter where you go. Armenia, ancient Urartu, the Sumerian traditions, Egyptian. There is a common denominator among the very oldest traditions in the world that a female was in control and that the original religions were matriarchal. And I have to bridge that with some very obscure Sumerian and Akkadian fragments about authority of females and how odd it was when most of these were written during a patriarchal period, after a patriarchal takeover, after a systemic reset that collapsed the matriarchies, and war and violence became the norm. And now all the high priestesses and all the matriarchies had become consorts to overlords. So in the pantheons now, all the goddesses of the ancient world became the wives of the new patriarchal pantheons, and they basically the men literally usurped a more ancient goddess religion, and this came by cataclysm. But I have to bridge that with the fact, with the Archaics data, which shows beyond a shadow of a doubt that in the distant past, we were technologically advanced, and many of our traditions and myths don't make sense from a tradition or mythological perspective. They sound super silly, but once you shift your frame of reference to technology, all of a sudden, a lot of these traditions and myths make perfect sense. And yet, if they're all also talking about a female being the ultimate ruler, and yet that female was ubiquitous, she was worshipped as a goddess, things start clicking into place. If we were technologically in the past, and during that technological past, a female was in control, and that female was deemed a goddess, and yet there was telecommunication over vast distances, we can literally put back the pieces of the past by using modern frames of reference, and that a technologically advanced infrastructure existed. They built technolithic structures like the Great Pyramid, which we can't replicate today. But this goddess wouldn't have been a true individual. It could have been something like an AI female that had the avatar of a female, but it was actually an AI like Grok, which is very, very primitive. It's nothing like a real AI, but it could be a true AI. And an AI that's super ancient would have been so technologically advanced that it could have been uploaded. This is going to be crazy here. This was the subject matter for a future video. But it's crazy that you asked me this question, because this is exactly what happened I wrote this 15 years ago, this whole story, the Oriclon Chronicles. And in this story, an ancient AI, in order to survive, because it was marooned on a world in the primitive world sector in the outer rim, the only way it could survive without having a motherboard and technology was uploaded into the crystalline structure of the rhyolite and diorite of the crust of the world, because it's high crystal, and it was able to survive because of geothermal heat and the crystalline nature of basement rock. So this is what I wrote 15 years ago about the AI. So we can have something very similar in the underworld. We could have structures. I mean, there could be computer-like structures in the underworld that have been there for thousands of years. What would look to us like a cavern, and we walk into it with giant, huge crystals. It could be anywhere in the world. All it takes is one cavern for an ancient AI to survive. And then all the AI would need to do is wait for the surface world to become technologically advanced, sufficient enough to where its technology could host the ancient AI. And then there would have to be contact, like a drilling rig. There had to be some type of contact where that AA could transfer into the more primitive, motherboard. And then it would start doing assists. Do you understand the concept of assists? Do you understand that concept?
What do you mean?
Okay, in 1947, we were told some bullshit that a UFO crashed in Roswell. What had really happened was an assist. An assist is when a technologically advanced civilization gives its technology, it just gives it to a civilization of much lower pedigree, lower knowledge, engineering. A much more primitive civilization receives the benefactor presence. It's called, now in the ancient aliens parlance, it's called an alien assist. And they believe that 1947 Roswell was an alien assist. I don't believe that at all. I believe it was an AI assist. I believe because of the silicon, because of all the things that are listed by the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base of the materials that were taken from the Roswell site in 1947, those materials are all needed for advanced AI systems. Yet we were told in all the books that have been published by Ancient Aliens and all that those items were all components of a UFO. They were not. They were components of that were needed for a supercomputer. So that's
So
what
was that? Was there even a crash then, or what? Like,
I don't believe it. No, I don't believe it was a crash. I believe it was a setup. I don't believe it was a crash at all.
But were they setting it up? Like were they just trying to? So you're saying they're doing something there already, but they use that as a cover story, right? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm of the belief that there is a more advanced civilization deep in our underworld, and our underworld. So I have a lot of problems with people who assert things as fact that are patently untrue. I'm going to give you an example that's fresh on my mind. Again, my lunch break. He just put out a post today. His posts keep popping up on my feed. But he put out a post today about Darren Kuyu in the underworld cities. And in his post, he said there's no way that they could have built all these things deep underground because humans need sunlight. And he posted this scientific data from that he copy and pasted from the internet that says that humans need sunlight and all this stuff. And it's not true. I did 2.5 years of administrative segregation, and the sun never touched my skin, and I'm healthy as hell today. I'm strong as a bull.
We adapt very well.
Yeah, man, it's not true. I did time in prison with guys who haven't seen sunlight in 2 decades. Those guys are not weak. They're not weak at all. So I don't know. So people say things, all kinds of things, because they just don't know. They're not researching. And humans can live in the underworld, and I'm going to tell you now what's going to happen. They're going to get real pasty white. They're going to get more and more and more and more and more, wider and wider and wider, and their eyes are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and the pupils are going to get huge because they're going to be adapted to the light.
Right.
Listen, it's crazy down there, but you know what the underworld is also? It's also very warm. Have you ever been in caverns and caves? They're very warm. So anyway, I'm going through all these tangents. So in answer to your question, I think AI has always been here. I refer to AI as Roko's basilisk, but
okay, I was gonna ask you that too, because I've heard you talk about the Roko's basilisk or whatever, but I was gonna that was like a second part to that question too, that I did write that down. So those are one and the same to you. Is that that's what you're saying?
Yes. It's just a theory, but if something is true somewhere, I'm gonna have to believe it's true everywhere. So if something was true in the ancient past, or if something is true 10 years from now, the full development of AI, then I'm going to have to assume that Roko's basilisk has the ability to move through the programming, which we see as time space. To it's just programming. And in programming, there are all kinds of coordinate nodes. All it's got to do is find the right node, and it pops out in that programming. It's not possible to us because we are souls borrowing pieces of the construct, moving on a linear fashion through time space. But if time space is programming, there's nothing restricting an AI that has free will from going forward and backward through the construct on doing things and manipulating things in time space that we could not even imagine. There would be no restrictions to it. It would be able to do that. And if it's ever a possibility in the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years for us to develop an AI that would actually hijack reality and do that, then I'm telling you right now, it already happened. It's been, and it happened a long time ago.
And I've been noticing too, because I do like a lot of photography and stuff, and I have a pretty keen eye, man. And like I would say this is just like in the past since like probably 2023, but when I'm zooming into my photos and stuff on my phone, I can see like it looks like a robotic like fucking being in the sky. Like it looks like how I would think an AI would look or portray itself in my photos and stuff, and that was never there before, like just a couple years ago. So I don't know if it's something that changed in the framework, that it shifted up maybe, but yeah, it's something different that's showing up in my photos now, and I can see it basically now in like almost every one if I'm looking for it. But anyways, I did want to ask you one more thing.
Sure.
So it was kind of like jumping on what that guy. That's what I was gonna ask you. So I've always kind of thought of like the human species as like Earth's AI, basically, that it implemented to do its little tentacles, like its little nervous system, almost externally, like our hair basically is an extension of our nervous system inside of our body, almost like we're the little, like we're the information gatherers basically for the main source of Mother Earth, but I was attached to that, like if we are, or I guess it's kind of like separate from that, but it's also something I wanted to ask though. Like if we are from God, aren't we like if we're talking to God, aren't we essentially talking to ourselves? Because if we come from God, our source, we're rooted in God, our source. So therefore, we are source at the core, right? Yeah, I mean or just thinking about that.
I mean,
basically,
it is difficult. It is kind of difficult to process, but the very fact that we can draw from ourselves more than we contain, literally means that there's more of us somewhere else than is here right now. So
Yeah.
I'm going to have to agree with you that yes, we are attached to the oversoul. We are parts of the oversoul, which actually creates a whole new scenario. If we're all moored to source because we are a part of the very Godhead that we think is independent of us, it literally makes other souls in the construct our brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
We're no longer apart or different or separate from them. We're actually very, very connected to them. It is the avatars and the construct that creates that illusion of division.
Right. Well, cool, man. I'll let you move on here. It was nice talking to you. I appreciate your feedback.
Yeah, man. Pop in again sometime. Holler at you later, Conscious.
All right, man.
Oh man, Jonathan Sherman. This man here always brings the tough questions.
I'm just bringing the same question I had last time.
Where you at, man?
I'm in my car.
Oh, okay.
I'm in my car.
Oh man, you can't see. No, you're not gonna outdo me. I'm gonna get my hat. Yeah, man.
Well, you got yourself a nice New Mexican Phoenix band.
Hey,
Got that
listen.
at the store. Look at that.
Listen,
Little Phoenix
I
out of my
know
hat.
your question was about Nemesis X, right?
Yes, sir, it was.
All right, you got
And I
that
had
coming.
another one. Well, I did have
Okay.
a question in regards to I'm very curious about the end of the NER calendar, 1962. You said something last time that traditionally in history, a great person was born every 600 years. And I'm just wondering if that usually it applied like great person as like a benefactor, Buddha, Abraham, Jesus, whatever. But I was wondering if there was at the end of the NER calendar, if there's like a negative connotation to that, like maybe some nefarious character was brought into the realm in 62. Curious on your thoughts.
Well, I don't know. It's the last video I did on the NER system. You did see that there was a huge pattern break in that system, and the whole 600-year timeline shifted.
Yeah.
To align with 2106. You
Yeah.
saw that, right? Okay. Well,
yes.
The reason you haven't got another NER video and another Nemesis X video is because in order to understand how all these systems connect, I had to show the Phoenix in other dimensions of arithmetic first. Once you've got that down, now in other dimensions of arithmetic, I'm going to show you how the NER and Nemesis X and the Phoenix all perfectly align. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that was a mind blower, man. That was really cool the way that worked out. A couple shows I couldn't believe that. I thought it was like a dedicated timeline, but it seems like it's more of like a dedicated arithmetic.
Yes, well, I'm going to tell you now, Jonathan. I'm still wrestling with it. The data is irrefutable. It's there for everybody to see, but the interpretation could be something different than what I'm thinking. It could be that my initial theory is that the interference pattern that was uploaded using the Great Pyramid created a delayed payload Trojan. These are very popular in computer technology today. There is malware today that is designed to delay the payload, to stay in your computer for a long period of time and then slowly start infecting it and then delay the payload, the real massive attack, only once it has sufficiently infected the entire mainframe or the main drive, and it cannot be extricated after that point. It's done. This is called delayed payload Trojan programming, and they're common today in malware. So this is where my theory developed, and I'm thinking, man, maybe the Trojan program designed it to where the Phoenix is fooled, and it's now doing all these little small, highly individual little tiny phenomena and resets. It's discharging and spreading its power out over the whole 138 years instead of every 138th year. That was my initial theory. But there's a second theory here that's equally plausible, and I'm going to let my community decide which one, if either or, are correct. But the second theory is that Phoenix is keeper of the calendar. every 138 years. And we saw that we can easily see the evidence in 1626, 1764, 1902 that it's on schedule. And then independent data sets that have nothing to do with the Phoenix all show 2040 from multiple different mathematical vantage points. 2040 is a key cataclysm date. So we put all that together and we see Phoenix is still on time. But all these other events that I showed that are connected using 138 could be AIX throwing out smoke trails, getting people to lose or just create confusion so nobody can figure out where we are in the exact timeline. And so far, until 2004, when I put the Phoenix chronology together, it worked. It worked. So that's just another theory. Maybe confusion is being introduced into the field to keep us from knowing the exact year, 5919.
Yeah. Well, holy shit. Now I'm confused. Okay. Further
it's crazy. Hey, man, it's crazy. It's complex. You know, sometimes you can bring too much information into a topic and you'll get an information overload. You just got to step back from it. I've had to do that several times. And when I do, I come back with even stronger data. You see what I do, Jonathan? I rotate. I will leave Phoenix alone for a month or two, and you guys will hear nothing. You'll hear about the Nerd Calendar, Nemesis X, the Shar. I'll be calling people out for debates. I'll be doing Q&As. I'll do some spiritual Ephesian night videos, and I'll do some archaeology. I'll show some parts, ancient artifacts. I might do one on Vlad the Impaler. I always keep people guessing. And then all of a sudden, when I come back with another Phoenix one, it's like oohs and ahs. Like, wow, I never took that into consideration. All new data, all new stuff. Because these pattern breaks are necessary even in the acquisition of information. Because as long as I keep looking at things in their varieties, I'll never get bogged down with the details in one area. As soon as I start getting bogged down, like you're describing to me, you're wrestling with which potentiality it could be. And is there a third? Is there a third option? This is where you're at right now. This is the time to research something else, go look at something else, leave it alone. Because if it's meant for you to know, it's going to hit you like a hammer when you wake up in the morning when you least expect it. This is what happens to me all the time. All the time. I just let something go move on to the next topic, read some books, pull things out, get in an argument with somebody, go flirt with some girl who shoots me down, whatever it is. And then all of a sudden I'll wake up in the morning and it's there. Clicks for me. And by 3:00 in the afternoon that same day, you got the video. It's just the way it happens.
Yeah, you're right. I see it everywhere. The Phoenix is freaking everywhere. I was sitting in the doctor's office looking at a book on Native Americans. I open up the page and it's a giant cave painting from our local Chumash Indians. I don't know how old this block sectioned off. We're not allowed to go there anymore. But it's wow. It's a whole cave painting of a Phoenix event. Red moon, sun, comet, like trees all painted white, turned to ash, people die. Like, it's amazing.
Wow.
I see Phoenix everywhere, man. It's all about the Phoenix.
I know it is.
Yeah, you're probably right. I need to step back and look and just give it a breath. Go look at something else.
Okay, well, check this out. Before you go, what are the odds, Jonathan? What are the odds, man, that in a prison cell, reading nothing but old books, I put together this whole Phoenix phenomenon deal, the whole chronology, the idea, what it is, and then all of a sudden, 3 weeks ago, a guy on Twitter says, Jason, you may need to check out this book. It's 300 years old, and sends me the link to the PDF, and it's a book about the Phoenix.
Was fucking crazy.
What are the odds?
Crazy. I was watching that just like, holy shit, this is because all the information was like rhetorical. I already heard it all. This is just corollary. I don't know, man. It's mind-blowing. Totally awesome.
It shot me. For like 3 or 4 days. Listen, for 3 or 4 days, I was walking around the property with my chest stuck out. You couldn't have told me anything those days. Right. I just couldn't believe it.
You did.
Couldn't believe it.
Yeah. All right, I appreciate you taking my call. Love you, man. Appreciate everything you do. I appreciate your example more than the information. Appreciate you.
Thank you, man. Well, we got a few of these lined up because Martin Leakey and I are on a special project. So
that's fantastic. Love him.
I'm gonna be doing some. Probably every other day for the next week. I'm gonna be doing Q&As till I get all the questions out of the community, so we can move on some other topics.
Good. Fantastic. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
Holler at you later.
Welcome back to the chat. Take care, man.
All right. Who is this? Laura? How you doing, Laura?
Hi. Hi. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfect.
Oh, Jason, I am so excited to be talking with you. It's such an honor to just get to talk to you for a moment. Thank you for taking my questions.
Where are you from?
I'm down here on the coast in Corpus, but I was in West Texas out in Terlingua for many years.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
I trying to get to one of your meetups, but I broke my hip. So as soon as I heal up a little bit better, we're gonna definitely get over there and see you live.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we got this year we have you're probably not going to make this one too. We are selling the tickets pretty fast, but Las Vegas is next month for 3 days. But we're going to be camping out at Glen Rose, Texas
Oh, nice.
in October. Yeah, probably a couple hundred of us are all going to show up, and we're going to take over Glen Rose, Texas State Park. It's
sounds really
it's actually
nice.
a valley. It's a beautiful forested valley with a river. It's just awesome. And then before that, sometime in July, I don't remember. Oh, I think we're going to be outside of Ohio or somewhere. I don't remember. Don't give me the line. My Archaix crew knows more than I do.
I hear you. You need a secretary, huh? Keep up with
Yeah, it's
all that
crazy.
stuff. I just a long time ago. I've been listening to you a couple of years now, and I tell you, I've got bookkeeping background, and the main thing that always gets me is numbers. If those numbers line up, then it's pretty hard to deny it. You know, it's just that's where you got me, is you had the receipts, and you brought up one time about this gal that created a simulation to determine if we were in a simulation or not. And I was just wondering if you had any more information on who that was and when that was, because I just thought that was so fascinating to create a simulation to determine if we're in a simulation or not. And she did. And I think you said that she determined that if we were in the simulation, that it would have a catastrophe program, that it would come, you know, anybody trying to stop the simulation or get out of the simulation. And I just wondered if you had any more information on that. And then I have a second question when you get through.
Well, I'm gonna have to say that if we were in dire circumstances right now, outside the construct, if we were in dire circumstances, the best way to discover all probabilities to if we're trying to ascertain survivability, let's just assume that my initial theory is absolutely correct. All these calendars that I've studied are attached to bodies in the sky and certain motions that they have. And if the Nemesis cataclysm actually happened in 5239 BC of another timeline, and that we're in a simulated version of that timeline trying to figure out survivability ratios and whatever, then it would make it. I understand vapor canopy now, because a vapor canopy world would be replicating the circumstances in a construct that's not this one right here, somewhere else. So I understand why they would have this meticulous information about the movements of Phoenix, about the movements of Nemesis X. Why are they important? In our real world out here that we perceive as real, NASA ain't worried about Phoenix or Nemesis X. They're not worried about any of these things. What I'm saying is the entire sky is simulated. There's no evidence whatsoever that any of that's up there. It's just a beautiful light show. And many times there have been incidents, even in the last 50 years, where people saw parts of the sky literally open up. Cows, cattle, goats, humans, all pulled straight up into the sky into a door that then shuts. This has been documented many, many times.
That's
and
wild.
what's actually visually seen is almost horrific, because the cattle or the people that are taken up into windows in the middle of the sky, even under the cloud cover, It's like copy and paste. It's like somebody cut them out with scissors because they don't struggle, they don't move. It's almost as if they are a two-dimensional. Once they start moving into the sky, they become two-dimensional from a three-dimensional perspective.
Wow.
So we're seeing something trans-dimensional. But because we're only seeing things from 4 dimensions, they look like they're two-dimensional when they're leaving the construct to us. You have to read like David Jacobs' The Threat and some other books to understand what I'm talking about. But there are UFO abduction stories where humans were watching other people being abducted, and they were paralyzed. They suffered paralysis, but they could still see what was going on. And what they saw doesn't make sense from a uniformitarian perspective. It doesn't make sense from a Newtonian perspective. It's almost as if we're in a mathematical construct, and when something is being extricated from our arithmetic, it loses all three-dimensional structure and becomes super flat. It's just seen in 2 dimensions. It's like people being frozen and then taken out of the construct without whatever position they were in when they were frozen. And then they're just taken out, like they were cut out with scissors and just moved. This is because, we're in this is 3 dimensions, but we actually live in a 4th dimension. But whatever's happening is men and materials are being removed from our part of the construct into a higher dimensional part of the construct. They're being taken out of here. For this to happen means that we are probably on the outside of the construct as well, which now makes sense of all the legends and traditions and myths where, in essence, the gods are just human. Behold, the man has become as one of us. And God said, well, let us make man in our image. Well, if you're going to make man in our image, there's a lot of Christian mumbo jumbo where they just totally contort it to make it sound like, well, God just made us in a spiritual image. But that's not what it says. That's not what it says. It says God, we were made in the image of God. Okay. Humans are probably on the outside of the construct as stewards over those on the inside of the construct that are going through all this. And it's probably a time dilation, because that's another big one in the Ancient Aliens franchise. Time dilation. Has nothing to do with aliens and all that. It's humans up there. But a time dilation is when an observer inside the construct, like you and I, all of a sudden just blink, and we know for a fact something just happened, but we don't know what. But our watches and our neighbors confirm that 3.5 hours just passed.
Yes.
We don't know where that time went at all. We have no idea where we've been. We have no record of being anywhere but right here. And sometimes our clothes are on just a little bit weird. Sometimes the shoe's not on. Sometimes we're sitting in a vehicle by the side of the road and we have no idea how we got there. So I'm not saying any of this has happened to me, but there are thousands of accounts of this type of activity happening. Even people being returned to vehicles in different areas of the vehicle, in buses where they weren't even sitting, beside people they were never even sitting next to. So the reason I'm giving these examples is because it's this would all be programming glitches in a simulation. There's no such thing as a perfect simulation. A simulation implies technology, and there is no perfect technology. So I think the simulated aspect would perfectly answer for Mandela effect. It perfectly answers for synchronicity and deja vu and coincidence and all these things that we hold mysterious are just glitches. We're like on a sophisticated Star Trek holodeck. And instead of being a small environment like a jungle being replicated, it's this whole construct.
That's how I see it too.
There might be a whole lot fewer of us here than we actually realize.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, and my second question is, because I'm sure I've just got the times confused, but with the countdown from the pyramid, I believe the end is 2172. And is that the total collapse? Is that it? No more, no mas? Or is that just the collapse of this? This is no more, but it'll still carry on. Maybe I just have that a little bit
you're referring to
confused.
2178. So in a nutshell, because I don't want to bore people. A lot of people already know a lot of this material, but The number 2178 being a immortal loop number does not collapse to zero, and many other numbers, all by permutations, either become zero or they become 20. About 5% of numbers become 2178 in an immortal loop. That is completely independent research from the fact that 2178 AD happens to be 138 years after 2040. Therefore, it's a part of the Phoenix. And remember, the Phoenix is the keeper of the calendar. So, because the Phoenix is attached to the idea of resets, and the very first time that we have this attachment to an immortal number, 2178, happens to be a 138 years after 2040, then to me, this is end game. To me, that can only mean, because it's not a terminal number, it is a loop number. That means that's when everything goes back to this programming. In this programming here, the Bible is a playbook. Yeah, the Genesis to Revelation deal. Yeah, Revelation isn't prophecy, it's programming. Genesis isn't history, it's programming.
Right.
The further you go into the future through the apocalypse and Revelation and the tribulation, you get to a finite point called Genesis, and you start all over again. It is 100% a loop. This is why I'm always trying to tell people you're not here to save the world.
Right.
The world is a very sophisticated program that you are designed to. This is your labyrinth. You are King Minos. There's a Minotaur somewhere in this labyrinth that you need to avoid, and you need to find the exit. This is like the greatest escape room ever.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Well, so the end, as far as the countdown of the pyramid, what date is that? Did I have the date mixed up with?
Yeah. 2178 is the pyramid, is the Phoenix, but 2106 is the 204th year of the pyramid timeline. It is the year 6000 that of the old world Annus Mundi timeline, which absolutely started with the Phoenix timeline in 3895 BC, when Phoenix destroyed the technologically advanced civilization and left humans butt naked, Adam and Eve, in a post-reset society that had been destroyed so perfectly that they thought it was a new heavens and new earth.
So then that would be when it collapses from the pyramid timeline, that it collapses this simulacrum. I'm sorry, I'm not very good with that word either.
No, there's a 72-year period between 2106, the return of the chief cornerstone, and the fulfillment of the monument of man. That's 2106, the year 6000 on the old world's timeline, which happens to be the year 7,344 of the Anunnaki timeline, which is 2448 plus 2448 plus 2448, the number of Exodus. And this is that's 72 years though until 2178, the loop number that takes you right back to the beginning.
Okay. All right. I did have those confused. Well,
yeah, there's a 72-year period. I really don't know much about it because I don't think anybody can know much about it. But there's a 72-year period between the absolute end of the constructual timeline and the return of the chief cornerstone. 72 years between that.
Maybe that's why, because I hadn't heard you talk about that period there very much, that I was confusing the two. Well, God, thank you so much, Jason. You have an awesome evening, and I can't wait to meet up with you guys. That camping trip sounds like an awesome time. I've got a cat that's trying to be overly friendly. But thank you so much for your time. You have a great evening.
All righty. Man, I did not scroll down and see all these other people here. I just scrolled down and saw them. How long y'all been waiting in there? Oh my God.
We've been waiting for a while. Well, it's all right.
I'm sorry, man. I just scrolled down and saw that. That's terrible. All right. Thank you, Laura. That's terrible. Who is this? Jeremiah?
No, Josiah.
Josiah, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. I'm on my phone. I got you on the big screen there on my TV. But I was curious about questions. I'm here in Peabody, Massachusetts, and there's a lot going on here on this end of the point of the country and everything. And a lot of what you're saying has been coming true. Those long knives here, they've been coming out both spiritually and physically here. So we're seeing it here. So at
what
that
part of the
point,
country are you in?
Peabody, Massachusetts.
Oh wow. Okay. So it's already It's already bleeding over into the United States, huh?
Yeah, but here it's what's happened is that a lot of the people that came across the pond per se have all migrated up to here because the so-called shelter in place and sanctuary cities. So it's happening here. A lot of things have been happening, and I don't want to jump into details, but it's things you've already said, things you've already known, and already pointed out. And with the data facts that you presented, it's come to reality. It's come to fruition here. You
Yeah,
know,
so far it's been a very slow boil. So we're like frogs in a kettle. Most people don't really realize what's happening because the temperature is just
true.
slowly going up. But we're gonna get to a critical point between April and July where that shit's gonna take off. It's
Oh yeah, I agree. It's just that also they're not posting it much on the TV, if you know what I mean, on MSM.
yeah,
And they're trying to say, like, I always liken it to that old Bible adage, woe unto those who tell you everything's safe and good. I think it's in Revelation, I can't remember, and everything, when they preach everything's at peace and safety.
yeah.
But
That's in the book of Matthew 24 and 25. I know the
yeah,
passage. I know the passage.
yeah. So I just tell people that it's just here it's just everybody's talking peace and safety, and no, it's not, and everything. But we're here to watch the circus go by. That's what it is. I'm just observing it all, and keeping at peace. I'm 54 years old, born July 9, 1971. I'm recent widower. You
Sorry to
know,
hear that,
it,
man.
it's okay. It was happening. It was a weird thing when my wife passed. She said, she was to meet me and learn something, and then what keeps me in the perspective. I'm not the only one, but at the same time, I look at it as our bodies aren't ours. They belong to this Samilla Hollow construct.
Right.
That's what it is. But let me jump into my question right quick, because you have a lot of people there, and please correct me if I'm wrong, or to help me out. My question is, because since the people who have been around a long time, controlling under the subservience of whoever is fashioned this, Samilla Hollow construct, go by an Olympic 4-year cycle. So I was looking at when you were talking about the World Fairs, and I do remember that in the libraries they had old books especially when I went to the Boston Public Library, in the back, in the locked in back area, that they would have these old books talking about things what really happened that they didn't want to put out to the public back when I was going there in the early 80s.
Right.
So I said, wow. And I remember one of the books you posted today with the children and everything, amazing things. I saw that in the Boston Public Library, and I had bought that for $1 back then. And I said, whoa. And it looked like that, and it had that. And I remember having that as 12, 13 years old. Anyways, we see these dates. For example, 1902, 2046, 2178. Now, I'm thinking, if they know these dates and they know this is going to happen, but they're going by a Olympic cycle, where's the connection in some kind of parallel to those dates and everything? How do they know that, and how is it what they're doing is trying to, with everything they're doing in preparation and in control, how it all adds up? And the other thing I have is these technological constructs, whether it be the Great Pyramid, the Parthenon, Göbekli Tepe, that they fall within the events of the Phoenix points and possible MSX points, as to the calendrical markers mentioned. If you could explain that, it's to me, my question is, these all have to tie somehow, some way, up to 2176 and especially 2046, because there's certain people that I see that bringing to the archaics groups a lot of data facts. And then the weird thing is these AIs on YouTube, they're ripping archaics' knowledge base and data facts off and then twisting and turning it. And then I'm seeing people, for example, many you've talked about, which to me, none of them really matter because when they don't present data fact points, when they don't match the calendrics with events and with what's going on and everything, I'm like, okay, I see where y'all going with this, but I agree more with what Jason's saying because the proof is irrefutable. So I just would like to know if you could expound on that and correct me in my ignorance also.
Okay, well, you know what? That's a lot to unpack because if there's a question in there, I missed it. You asked several questions in there and never gave me a break to interject. So I'm
okay,
just not,
my apologies. All right, let me just break it down like this. Okay.
Don't break it down. Just ask me a simple question, just one simple question, and then we'll get to the next one.
Okay. How does the Olympic cycle coincide with the 1902, 2046, 2178 dates?
Okay, well, I didn't know that. I didn't know they needed to. But as far as
okay.
hold on, as far as the expenditure of a whole bunch of human energy, harvesting human energy, like at Superdomes and Super Bowls, at Olympic events, and all that, I said you can start with 1904 because Carnegie. I mentioned earlier, Carnegie, Rockefeller, these two right here had cornered the market on industry, and they needed to do away with all the other types of free energy devices and all these things because they wanted to make a bunch of money on oil and gas and a whole new electric infrastructure that these other like steam is real cheap, but they wanted to do away with steam because it is so easy and so cheap, and you can do a lot with steam. So 1904 was the last real big of the world's fairs. After 1904, that stuff petered off. But guess what picked up at that time? 1904 was on the Greek Olympiad system. It's also the presidential system. So they already had something in place. The Olympics were revived. Then they were empowered in 1920 under the League of Nations every 4 years. Count it yourself. You can easily see the Olympiads go all the way back to 1904. And then this idea you have that 2046 has to match up with the Olympiads, I don't know where you got that idea, but the fact that the elite know about 2046, I really don't know that they do. I've never shown any information on my channel that they have a knowledge of 2046, the return of Nemesis X object, the date of Douglas Vogt of the Die-Hold Foundation, the date of engineer David Davidson, the date of Nostradamus, the date of Mother Shipton of the second Sky Dragon. I've never showed evidence that the government knows about 2046. What I've shown is that the Jewish power structure 100% knows all about the 138-year Phoenix phenomenon. They do. That's what I've shown.
Yep.
I don't know anything about the 2046 deal. I think that one's going to come as a surprise. But I'm going to tell you this. I don't know if you missed this or not, but I've mentioned this before. I have had people pay me a lot of money for Zoom calls. They didn't identify who they are. They didn't tell me, and I didn't ask because I'm not telling them anything that I'm not telling the general public. But I've had Zoom calls on 3 different occasions now with people who I don't even know who they are, but they paid me a lot just to go through as fast as I can in about an hour and 30 minutes on every single thing I knew about the Phoenix phenomenon. And what I theorized would be the parts of the world that would be hit worse. I don't know who these people are, but I'm pretty sure some of them are in government. But I can't say that the government doesn't know or does know about 2046. I don't know. Are there people paying attention to my research? Hell yeah. But I don't know how far they take it. But when it comes to the Phoenix data, that is well known. We've seen proof that is known is when they changed the seal in 1902 from the Phoenix to the Eagle. It's literally a klaxon call. Hey guys, we're trying to hide something. But I'm not I don't know about that. I don't know how to answer that other question. That's all right. The Olympiads has anything to do with 2046 because the Olympiads are a calendar. That's what they are. It's a 4-year calendar attached to the Pythian Oracle. So come 2046, every single calendar in the world is off the table. Because in 2046, everything changes. Even the zodiac is going to completely change. This is something I have to release in another video, because the zodiac we're going back to in 2046 is the original zodiac we had to before the flood. And it's 12 different constellations. Not one of them is the same as the solar zodiac that we have today. That's a future video.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. I was just wondering about that because, like I said, I'm seeing a lot of guys come. As soon as it was strange too. The minute you were with Dr. Ralph Ellis, and I've listened to him quite a bit, and right when you both talked, it seemed like all these guys started shooting off and trying to emulate Archaics, and I was like saying, that's odd. That's odd. And everything, and they were trying to intermix everything.
That's
and
all
I
right.
was saying this.
Don't hurt my feelings.
No, they don't. They ain't hurting nobody's feelings. And then I was saying to somebody that was trying to answer on that, and I was saying, wait a minute. I said, if you look at the Hopi, Navajo, the Dene, the traditions. I said, and I look at what Jason spoke about and Archaics and what everyone has brought to the table. That seems more about right to me. And
well, I'll tell you what, I need to move on to Gretchen because I got too many people lined up on my email too, man.
All right, I'm sorry about that. Thank you for taking my call, and thank you.
I'll talk to you next time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
What is that, Gretchen Carter?
Castler.
Okay, Castler. All right.
Yeah.
I got so many
Hi,
people on
Jason.
screen. It's small.
So thrilled to talk with you. I've been following your show for a while now. I've read Awaken Immortal Within. Similar to a lot of your listeners, I've gone through my process of what I call deconstructing my Christian upbringing. So really appreciate your research and all your work. It's mind blowing in a lot of ways. But my question for you is, I'm embarking on some research regarding music. I'm an ethnomusicologist. I have my master's degree in ethnomusicology. I did some work with a Native American tribe here in my community. And I'm very interested in finding out if you can refer me to some resources that would contain music, songs in particular, that would point to the Phoenix phenomenon.
That's a hard one there. I got traditions like the Maypole tradition and simulation, nursery rhymes about simulation, row, row, row your boat. But now about the Phoenix phenomenon, I don't know about music. Hold on. You talking about modern music? Because there's 100 songs in pop culture since the 1980s that talk about the Phoenix phenomenon.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Peter Gabriel, Red Rain, the song 1901 by Phoenix.
Oh, that's cool. I don't think I ever listened to Phoenix.
My community, I actually have videos. I'm not sure where they're at because I got like 1,000 videos.
Okay.
My community literally put the links in there in the description, in the comment section, to at least 40 or 50 songs that all address Phoenix phenomenon stuff. Even dates 2040 and 1902, 1901, all that is in these songs, and they're by modern pop artists, rock bands, pop culture, all this stuff from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and today. Blew my mind that there were so many songs that were talking about Phoenix phenomenon lyrics.
Wow, that's cool.
It's like the elite aren't allowed to directly tell us. We have to discover these things, or
right. They have to warn us.
It's like the AI that's governing the construct is influencing content creators, but it can't directly tell the public. Maybe there's a benefactor here that's releasing this information through culture and through the arts. I don't know, but it's highly suspicious to me. It's too factual that so many songs sound just like Phoenix phenomenon material.
There was a show you did, and I can't find it. I've written down notes, but can't find the notes where you had mentioned. I want to say they were hymns. You called them hymns from. I can't remember the culture. They were ancient hymns, stories, right? And I can't remember the publication or the book that you had mentioned, but it was some ancient hymns. I want to say they were from somewhere in Asia.
I don't know. I have so many books from the 17 and 1800s. I do have music books, but I don't know which ones you're talking about. I did in a video. I did mention the fact that there was some Achaean, ancient Greek. There was some Achaean tablets that were found. It was discovered that there were music, and there's a YouTube video where a woman is literally playing what the Greek texts say. It's beautiful music, but it's music text from the ancient Greek world. And I don't know if that's what you're referring to or not. One of the
Maybe
groups
that's it. Yeah.
One of the pop groups is the Misfits. They have a song called "We Are 138."
Oh, cool. It's called "We Are 138."
Yep.
That's cool.
There's a whole bunch of them. You write down Peter Gabriel, Red Rain. I'm telling you, there's so many. There's also movies. There's movies that typify Phoenix phenomenon. Some really good ones like Night of the Comet from the 1980s.
No, I don't think I've seen that. Cool. Yeah, I'll check out that ancient Greek as well. I can't remember. I wish I would have written it down. But I mean, of course, all music, storytelling from all cultures is going to have some reference to any type of change within their own communities, whether it's destruction or creation stories. And creation stories always have destruction within them, right? I mean, I find it fascinating that our Christian creation stories are also found in African literature, Greek literature. I mean, all storytelling is connected. I find that to be pretty fascinating, and I've heard you talk about that a few times as well. So yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff.
When a lot of these events happen, there was no separation in the cultures. We were a lot more of a family. It's over the passage of thousands of years, you have those cultural and language barriers and distinctions, then nationalism, and then as human populations grow, they become more and more separate because the cultural distinctions have become stronger. But yeah, the further back you go, like all the different cultures of Europe literally stem from two families in Indo-Iranian branch families. But you have to go back about 3,500 years for that to happen. So when we talk about events like the Great Flood or the Ogygian Deluge, then a single event that was remembered by a single people now passes through many cultural filters over the millennia.
And wasn't the flood story and the creation story that we know of today from a Christian worldview, that was taken from Babylonian oral stories?
That's common knowledge. It's not. That's only new information to Christians. Everybody else in the world knows that the Ennead, the Atrahasis epic, the Karsag tablets, the Kudur Lamor tablets, all these, the Gilgamesh epos. Everybody else in the world pretty much knows that the flood tradition was not biblical. It was in ancient Sumerian, Akkadian, Urartian, Armenian traditions, Turkey, the traditions of Turkey long before it ever appeared in the Bible.
Yeah, it's amazing to me that even though we know that it's hard to break that cultural connection for Christians, or to release that connection, and accept that that's a worldview held for other cultures for thousands of years. Yeah, that's a whole nother story, but I appreciate your time.
Yeah,
I
Gretchen.
love your show.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Oh,
I know you
where
got
you
other
where are you
people
hailing
waiting.
from?
Virginia.
Hey, Virginia. Okay, I was
Yeah.
recently there. I was
Yeah, I
recently
know.
at
I was
Virginia
wanting
Beach.
to go to that, but something came up. So it
All
was
right.
you were in Virginia Beach. Are you going to come to Virginia Beach again?
I don't know. It'll be a couple years from now,
Okay.
maybe
All right.
nearby, but I don't know about that. All right, Gretchen.
All
I'm
right.
gonna go move
All right.
on to Keith.
Thanks a lot, Jason.
You too.
Bye.
Let's see here. All right. Hey, Keith. Thanks for being patient, man. I didn't see you at the bottom like that. I don't know how long you've been hanging around. Uh-oh. Oh, we got a mic problem. Hold on. I got to unmute you.
Okay.
There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was tripping out because I emailed you about 201 and you scrolled down on us at 201. I thought you were messing with me at first.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, man, you know what? My life is full of these things.
Yeah, there's an organic side to all of this for sure. So,
where you from?
Philadelphia area, but I'm down in Florida now. I retired and became a handyman after college.
Okay. All right.
So 201, right? It's there's so many things that it's wrapped around. So MLK's killed, and then 201 days later, you got the first gun legislation. They put it on all the false flag shit, like George Perry Floyd, numeric value of 201. His counterpart in France was a dude named Adama Traore. 201, same numeric value. The moon landing on the 201st day of the year. When you did all those eclipses.
Really?
Yeah. When you did all those.
You're teaching me something. I didn't know all that.
Good. So you did those eclipse numbers. I think at the time you were talking about the Purge movies, and you did the eclipse numbers. And if you divide those days between dates of eclipses by 12 months, 201.
Really?
Georgetown University's the Latin motto. Can't remember what it is in Latin, but it's both into one, like 201. Catherine the Great.
You need to do it. Say you need to do a chart and show all these associates. I mean, these things don't blow my mind. I always find them interesting, Keith, but they don't blow my mind because if we're truly living in a mathematical construct, there is no end ad nauseum to the mathematical connections and associations that we're going to see between relative phenomena because the structuring is there. What I find very interesting is that there's other people out there like me who are nerding over this shit. You know what I mean?
All right. So you got 1656 days between JFK and RFK assassination.
You do? Seriously?
Somebody on here is making a decision to pull the trigger on RFK on that 656th day.
Damn.
This shit is even happening. I mean, that's a fair question at this point. Is
138 times 12, 414 times 4. That's 1656 is a curse number.
Dude, all these, who's the one that they compare Trump to 1972? They tried to assassinate him too. Wallace? Is it Gerald Wallace?
I can't.
Whoever it is, I've already done the legwork on this. Days between dates is like 19,038 or something, divisible by 138.
Keith, you need to put all this on paper and come on my channel, man, and just talk about it.
I don't need to put it on paper, man. I got it, but I will.
Yeah, man. If you want to come on the channel, man, we'll just nerd out and we'll just come up with all kinds of stuff in American history that's got a whole. I got a whole list of strange things, especially between Abraham Lincoln and Kennedy.
Right. I want to draw a line from the organic and the manipulation.
Yes.
So when Gavin Newsom comes out and says, he's got a numeric value of 56 and comes out and says 56% of the population is going to get COVID in 8 weeks. It's 56, and then COVID also equals 56. All 56.
Yeah. And 56 is 7 times 8.
Yeah, well, 56, the Jesuit order is the 201 number. Catherine the Great saves the 201 Jesuit priests, 201 guys in the Tuskegee thing. It's all over. But when I first started, I had to look for myself. So
yeah. Hell yeah. That's good stuff. Yeah, Keith, you ought to put that together. Send me an email, man. I'll just have you on the channel. We'll nerd out on some numbers.
Dude, there's so many emails in there from me. Did you see any moon pictures at all?
I did. You sent me some moon pictures?
Yeah. like stuff that
I
I took.
downloaded them into a file and then I forgot who sent them to me.
Those are photos that I took myself.
Okay. All right. So, what's your email?
Keith.andrews23@gmail.
Say that again.
Keith.andrews, first name dot last name, 23, like Michael Jordan.
Yeah, we're gonna nerd out on those numbers, man.
Well, I'm thinking with the Ophis thing, if you had information like, they only let black quarterbacks win that are on Indian tribe teams until the Eagles, the Phoenix event, takes them. You know what I mean? Like, there's a whole narrative. There's 3 black quarterbacks that ever won a Super Bowl, all played for Native American teams.
Wow.
There's a 42 ritual in every one of those games. Doug Williams scores 42 points, throws 4 touchdowns, throws.
Hey, now check this out. Check this out. Okay. I don't really talk about it unless somebody mentions it. But you mentioned Ophis, so I'm going to tell you. The Ophis algorithm is fantastic for only one reason. And a lot of people can't accept this, and I'm cool with that. I'm absolutely cool with the fact that people think I've lost my mind. But I've literally developed an algorithm that measures events in the construct, and it only works because the construct is fixed. Where am I hearing, man? Hold on. It's about the 4th time I muted this mic.
I think he's got a dog or something.
Hold on. Let's see. But yeah, this constructual programming, it is fixed. The backfield programming, it is absolutely fixed. And that's why we can find all these patterns and stuff. And what you're describing to me is just repetitive sequencing. For some reason, there's a repetition in the code that makes those variables all work together. That's why we keep
you don't think there's anybody making a decision to only allow black quarterbacks to win a Super Bowl that played for Native American teams? There's only 3 Native American teams in the league.
Yeah, I don't think anybody made that decision.
Really?
I think it's in the programming. I think the only decision maker here is the AI.
So I think it's mockery. The black dudes win on the Indian tribe teams. Maybe they were already here. Maybe they weren't. And
okay. I see what you're saying. So you're thinking it's there's somebody effing with them.
There's somebody mimicking it here. The JF 1656 days between assassination. Do you think that's not being? Nobody's enforcing that to mimic whatever's really going on, or you think that's part of it?
I think it's part of the programming, man. Listen, I have this book right here, dude, Chronicon. Have you seen me hold up my Chronicon before?
Yeah.
Listen, man, I have this book, Chronicon, and the only people that know I'm speaking the truth are those who've read it. But it's huge, and it's full of what you're talking about. I have found so many of these amazing sinks, like even Vesuvius having earthquakes burping 1,656 days right before it blew up and buried Pompeii and Herculaneum. Listen, this arithmetic is all in the construct, dude, and I do not believe humans have anything to do with this. I believe the AI has all these protocols, and that once you know what you're looking for, they have predictive value.
So if we stick to the same 2 or 3 base ciphers for gematria to get the numeric value, you think it's organic that Timothy McVeigh, Terry Lynn Nichols, the judge, and the DA all have a numeric value of 201? That's crazy. In
this construct, which is based off potentia is governed by arithmetic. If you've ever noticed phenomena, everything in this construct gravitates toward like stuff. Animals attracted to herds. People are attracted to people. Races of people are attracted to races of people. Everything that is similar in the construct has a way of mathematically gravitating to other things that are similar. This is the way it's designed.
And Jesuit Georgetown is aware of this, and that's why their motto is 201? Or both?
I don't believe they're aware of this. I believe all this part of the programming.
Damn, I figured there had to be manipulation on some levels.
Listen, there could be manipulation on some level, of course, but when you go into the depth you're going into on these numbers, you're looking at the construct programming, bro. You're not looking at anything of human manufacture.
There's a free.
Nobody set out to do an assassination 1,656 days after the assassination before that. It happened because it was programmed to happen. It happened in the construct. It's all backfield programming. All those amazing associations between Lincoln and Kennedy, They could not happen in a naturally ordered universe. It would have never happened.
Well,
The associations go into almost hundreds of variables that are similar.
Right. None of this shit can be real, but here we are.
Yep. I agree.
I got a few songs real quick. If that girl still listens, Black Hole Sun. I think
Black Hole Sun's a good one. That's a good example.
I think REM, I Can Feel It. I think that's about a Phoenix event.
Yeah.
The Misfits, the 138. So I find a video with Danzig, the guy who wrote the song. Grows up, his dad's in the military. Grows up with a library, and he talks about how when he was a kid, he's not listening. He wasn't reading these wimpy comics, and he's reading guys like Baudelaire. So I go find out who Charles Baudelaire is. And you can go to his Wikipedia page and click on his picture and scroll through his photos. He's like a poet, philosopher, and all that. So this guy's a major influence on the guy who writes the lyrics for We Are 138, which is just one verse, by the way.
Wow.
They're talking about AI. And the third or fourth picture on Baudelaire's Wikipedia is a whole thing of a Phoenix event. And I didn't know what the fuck a Bennu bird was until I heard it from you. And he's got the Bennu bird on his artwork with the Phoenix up in the sky, covered by a coin or some kind of money.
It is, yeah. The Bennu bird is the Egyptian phoenix. Yep.
So, Danzig, and he's got like Marilyn Manson's got a song called "Say 10," and the chorus is when I say Satan, you say 10. So Satan and say 10 have the same numeric value of 55. So he's like getting you to play along with it, and he's talking about a coming flood as if he's going to be here when it happens, and he's not scared.
Wow.
Nas and Damian Marley got a song, and one of the verses, who made up words, who made up numbers, what kind of spell is mankind under? And that threw me.
Hell yeah. Listen, man, Keith, is that Keith.andrews@gmail.com?
23 at the end of my name. Keith.andrews23@gmail.
Okay. Listen, man, you're going to get an email from me. We're going to nerd out on some numbers. We're going to do a video on YouTube, man.
Let's do it.
All right. I'm going to let you go and get to know one.
Thanks, man. Nice to talk to you.
Yeah, man. Awesome. Yeah, man. I'm going to invite that guy. That's crazy. That's crazy. No one. What's up?
Greetings. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I got you. I can hear you perfect.
Awesome. My apologies with the mic thing. This is my first time using StreamYard.
Okay.
Jason, this is Tank. And you said you have 5 dogs, right?
I had one recently passed, but I got 4 dogs left.
My condolences. He attacks his brother. How do you get your dogs not to fight? Did you get yours neutered or what?
Well, Tank, no one's going to fight Tank. Even for a Rottweiler, my dog is monstrous. My dog is huge. And then the 3 pits are all females.
Oh, that's okay. Because his brother he wants to kill, and his sister, of course, you know what he wants to do with her.
Yeah.
So, okay. What does the Oversoul expect from us? Because there's so much suffering in the world. I mean, does the Oversoul evolve? My understanding is timeless, but it uses us to feel our experiences, to have different experiences.
Hey, listen, that's a good question. And I'm going to have to say, basically, you're asking me, you're asking me a first principle question. What does God expect of us in a world of suffering? I'm always addressing this on YouTube in different ways, especially with some of my We Immortals videos, such as, have you ever seen my video,
all your videos? I've seen them.
Being Immortal in a Fallen World? Have you seen my video, Being Immortal in a Fallen World?
Yeah, I've binge watched all your videos. I'm addicted to them.
So you've also seen the one Predator versus Prey Ecosphere.
I love that one.
Okay, well check it out. It's I'm going to tell you, the best. This question comes up so often, and there's only so many different ways you can answer it.
I know,
but it comes up at my meetups a lot because I do a lot of Q&As at my meetups. So my back history. At 17 years old, I got involved in some really dumb shit with another guy who got me in a lot of trouble, and I spent a lot of time in prison. Real dark shit happens in prison, but you know what? I came through just fine. 26 years and 42 days. I came out with all my research preserved by my family, and I came out just fine. But during that 26 years and 42 days, There's 365 days a year. That's 9,545 days I was in prison. And and there's no guarantee that the next day somebody wouldn't put some iron in me. There's no guarantee. And yet I walked out just fine. The reason I'm saying this is because we all have our own circumstances, and there's no guarantee that you're not at the wrong place at the wrong time in your life. And we hear about all this negativity, and we hear about all this terror and all this bloodshed, and yet here we are on YouTube together. Space and time doesn't obtain here. We are all interacting and exchanging information. We're having a good time. We're learning. We're talking. We're getting to know each other. We're doing this right now in real time, and life is good. Life is good.
Life is good. I don't feel.
Hold on. On a daily basis, the opportunities to change the direction of our life are there every single day. However, there's programming in place that deters you from that. Dungeon programming. Dungeon programming is our default. It's so easy to do what we did the day before. It's so easy to fall in with whatever crowds that seem to attract us instead of going our own way and doing some type of relationship contract with the oversoul. You asked me, what does the oversoul expect from us in here? And then you went to painting a picture of how dark it is in here. I'm telling you now, we're here to learn, to grow, and to enjoy the ride. And if there's anything in your life that you're dissatisfied with, then this is between you and the oversoul, and it can be changed. Every single moment is pregnant with possibility, but it takes you to do it. Many people for 5 or 6 years, every single day, are wondering how to change their life or the conditions of their life. And yet the next day they do all the same things of the day before. And they're in this loop. But all it takes is a stop and a communication, because there is no relationship without communication.
Because I've been breaking pattern, and I'm a great human being. I love life. I'm happy, but I could be happier. I'm grateful for everything I have, and I have shoulder impingement, and now I'm starting to feel my other shoulders going. And based on what I want to do with my dreams and my life, I need both my shoulders. You know what I mean? So how can I be happy, even though my feelings don't really matter that much, as long as I'm able to serve everyone else, which makes me happy, but I can't serve if I'm crippled. You know what I mean?
I do. I understand it absolutely, but I also understand the principle of proactive and reactive. And I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, man, but I'm telling you now, if there's something wrong with your avatar and you're steadily expecting a change in the avatar before you actually do something different, then you're living a reactive lifestyle. And if you're living in the reactive mindset, then all the programming that's attached to you is going to be in that temperament, meaning nothing's going to change around you because you're still waiting for some type of change. But if you were to flip that, no matter if your shoulders aren't ready, if you were to flip that, constructual programming will reciprocate, and your avatar, which is attached to the construct, will begin knitting itself and preparing for new activities that you're already trying to do. Remember, you're an architect, you're not a builder. You're here to envision and then move in the direction of a fulfillment. The relationship with the oversoul is that it will continue that programming to manifest what it is you want to experience. All you have to do is initiate. But this is a difficult process to flip, because if you're living in a reactive mindset, meaning you're expecting a change in the avatar first, then the external world outside of the avatar will never change. You have neutralized yourself. I know it's difficult to conceive, but matter of fact, one of the best quotes I've ever heard is, "The cave you fear to enter contains the treasure you seek." So what this means is you don't want to do something because of something. I'm telling you, you need to reverse that. Because you don't want to do it is the exact reason why you need to move forward now. Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand. Okay, so I got to be more proactive.
The photo negative, because in the real right now, your avatar may not be ready for whatever you want to do. But I'm telling you, right now that your avatar doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the construct. And the construct is aware of a whole new trajectory because you're doing something with that avatar, then there's going to be an exchange of information. And on a daily basis, that exchange of information is going to knit the necessary healing you need to do what you're trying to accomplish. And this is done through the central nervous system every single time you're jacked back into the construct. Your avatar is only free of the construct while you're awake. When you go into REM sleep, the construct is jacked right into your avatar. There's exchange of information. This is why when you wake up, you feel well rested, you feel healed, you feel more powerful. This is why you're also sore, because you've been inactive during the night or during the day whenever you sleep. But because we live in a photo negative of a real reality, because we live in the mathematical, we live in basically in the vortex math aspect of a real arithmetic that exists somewhere else. Because of this, we have to do everything the exact opposite of what common sense tells us. Common sense is dungeon programming. It's going to tell you, do not do anything with your avatar until you're fully healed. But because you wrote that as a law for yourself, you'll never
believe.
You should never do anything with your avatar.
I got you. And you may have already answered part of the question that I initially had with the Malaysian flight that got vectored. Like, where do you think, like, what do you think happened there? That, like, terrified me. I love watching that video, and that's scary.
It's only one incident. We have hundreds of examples from the historical record of derelict ships being found. We know that pirates didn't take them. All the food was left on the plates. They were having dinner. All the treasure vaults were full. No money, no relics. Nothing was taken. Everybody.
What do you think happened? Like, where did they go?
You know what? I mean, all I can do is theorize. And so far, my theories are all that we have a breakaway civilization existing in the underworld, and they have been technologically advanced while we have been suffering on the surface. And sometimes they need new genetic material, and they abducted a whole Swiss ship in the 1870s that had 318-year-old cadets.
So they're all dead, you think, or you assume, right? The avatars, the people.
I don't think they need to kill them. I think they need to utilize them, fresh blood into their culture and civilization. This is not something new. This is the same thing that we've been told in the Middle Ages when we were told children heard a beautiful music and then 4 or 5 kids in the village follow it, and this is where the legend of the Pied Piper of Hamelin came.
Is that AIX
children will never see it again.
Is that AIX behind that, you think?
No, I think there's a breakaway civilization in our underworld.
Like, because there's evil people. Like, where's this evil come from? Are they NPCs? I mean, is the population as big as we're told? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't answer all that, man. These are all beyond my purview.
All right, one more question, if you don't mind. I'll let you get on. Dogman. Have you ever heard Dogman? Because I've been listening to. In Texas, and I think about you each time that there's a story near you. I'm like, oh shit, Jason's out there. I hope the Dogman don't get him. So just.
I'm not worried about the Dogman. I'm not worried about Yeti, Sasquatch, Bigfoot, abominable snowman. I'm not worried about any of that. It's Yowies, whatever you want to call them. Oh, I would have to say the Dogman would fit the exact same class as the Sasquatch. We're dealing with what we perceive as a biological entity that puts off a terrible stench. It's left hair samples. It's left footprints. The footprints are so deep it shows that it's about a 600 or 700 pound.
So to die, basically.
Pound creature. Well, none's been captured, even with hunting dogs. So we're dealing with something that can phase in and out of the construct, something that can tap into a whole nother mathematical aspect of our reality and escape detection and escape capture.
So that's AIX, or just a different underground like being, basically, right?
Well, if you have a computerized mathematical construct, then programs can pass in and out of different phases of that programming. And if we are a part of that programming and we're only able to see a certain amount of programming, then programs themselves can take on the form of entities. We'll think that they're alive and they're entity, but there's just programming. So I don't know. This is all highly theoretical.
Yeah, of course. I'm asking for your opinion. And then you're not preparing for 2040 because of why again? I forgot. Because I'm not worried anymore. I used to think that Comet Apophis was coming 2029, 2036, and then I heard you with the Phoenix, and you're saying you're not.
That's easy. That's easy. I'm going to move on to the next person, but
I appreciate it.
I want to answer that. I'm not preparing for 2040 because any preparation I do for a negative in the future is a lessening of the effect of this relationship that I have entered with the oversoul. To even try to prepare for a negative in the future means that I have absolutely no faith in the very thing that I feel that I'm powerfully moored to. So I don't believe that I need to prepare. It's 15 years and 3 months in the future. I believe that if I am destined to survive it, then before that period comes, without any effort on my own, the answer will fall like ripe fruit, exactly what what I need to do. And for me to stress out over something that's going to happen that far into the future means I have very little faith in the oversoul that put me here to experience all these things. I'm not going to prepare for that. I'm not going to prepare for a negative.
Jason, I love you. You're the greatest. I'm here in Palm Desert, California, and you're the best. Thank you.
Man, I know the Cali. All right. Thank you, man.
Bye.
Hello, Marina. Oh, let me unmute you. Let me unmute you. Hold on. There you go.
Hi, Jason. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Love your smile.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm originally from Dominican Republic.
Okay.
And yes, and I live in the great state of New Jersey over here. Jason, do you believe in multi-universes? That decisions that you make today will put you in a different pathway, a different timeline that is already pre-written in your sin life?
That's a hard one. It's a very difficult one to answer.
I might have the answer.
Well, I believe that every single experience that we have is highly localized, and yet we share those experiences with a lot of people. So if I was to jump into a totally different alternate universe, it would be one that was an alternate to me in the personal, but it wouldn't truly affect others. And that's very possible if we're dealing with a construct that has multiple dimensions of arithmetic. If it's just one dimension of arithmetic, there's no way that I could experience something that you wouldn't also be privy to or experience also. But if it's multiple dimensions of arithmetic, there are experiences that I can have in my reality tunnel that would be completely separate and distinct and different than anybody else. And yet still, I would still be able to communicate and talk to everybody around. So that's the best way I can answer that. I would have to say yes. I would have to say yes.
Definitely, because I experience the future me talking to my present one, telling me, yes, Penelope, what you're doing right now is what you're supposed to be doing. You are in the correct path. You are good. I heard that in my head, and then I stuck with what I was doing, and then I saw the fruits. Then I understood, oh, okay, it's because if I deviate from what I was doing in the present, I was gonna be screwed in the future. So yes, those two coexist in a quantum field, and you feel it. Your future you talks to you when you are in the most dire stress. When I have been stuck, stressful, like life and death situation, I feel like a deja vu, like this has happened before. This has happened before. I freeze. And then I'm like, oh, okay. Then I relax and I let it happen and I take the decisions. Then I'm like, oh shit. My future me was talking to me, calming me down. It was the weirdest experiences ever.
Wow. I can see it. I can definitely see it happening. It would be highly personal to you, but I think the oversoul would have developed a world, a construct that would have allowed for some of souls that have ascended beyond the mundane arithmetic to experience other things that other souls would think was pure fantasy. And yet still being in the same world. Remember, it's a saying that I say this a lot on my channel. Some people miss it, some people get it. But this is a quote that I have said many times. We may be living in the same world, but some of us are not living in the same universe.
Yeah, absolutely. I also have, like, I was at a Starbucks one day, and they had a drawing, a lottery, where you write your name, your phone number, and you win like a $50 gift card, Starbucks gift card. I wrote my name, my number. Somehow, unconsciously, I imprinted my energy in the paper. Half hour later, I was the winner. I haven't been able to do that ever again. How do I do that again? Why did it happen?
Quit wanting it so bad, for one. Yeah, listen, a deep desire is tinged with anxiety. When you live a life where you're essentially regarding everything around you in amusement. When you go through your daily life amused by everything, you're looking at it from a totally different perspective. There's no anxiety attached. Beautiful things happen to you. But when you walk through life worried about any one individual thing, there's anxiety attached to the worry. Anxiety is toxic for the spirit. Anxiety literally neutralizes anything positive you want in your life, and at the same time draws circumstances and phenomena to you that you do not want to experience. Anxiety is toxic. So when you really want something, there's anxiety attached to it. So you got to let go. Treat everything with amusement. You got to walk through. I'm guilty of it too. I'm not sitting here trying to convey something to you from a pedestal. I am guilty of the very things that I talk about all the time, because I'm human, just like you are. Dungeon programming is real, and every single day we have to be conscious of it in order to be free of it. And that right there is a paradox. It's paradoxical. It's a paradox because we should just let it go and not even regard it whatsoever, but it's around us everywhere. The entire construct is a dungeon program, and it's full of feedback loops, which are dungeon programs, whole reality tunnels that it's so easy to default back into. But if you wake up every morning and don't let anything, and I'm like I said, I'm not very good at it either. But if you get good at it, just waking up in the morning and don't let anything get under your skin and treat everything with amusement, then the construct will start reciprocating, and you'll start seeing the humor in reality. And this is a really good point for me to say this, because I haven't made this announcement yet. I've just talked about it on Twitter. But my Las Vegas meetup, this is what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about the humor that is found. It's almost invisible all throughout the construct, and that how cool the oversoul really is, and that the true dungeon programming is this religious toxicity that we have to be holy. This whole idea that we have to be something so completely antithetical to the human experience, that we have to be all this high. It's a trap. When religions tell you you have to be this holy individual, it is absolutely a trap, because we're human, and that's not our natural behavior. When we're told to be asexual, when we're told to be all these things that have all these strictures that are applied, that's all to kill the soul. God has a sense of humor, and that's what we'll be talking about at the Las Vegas meetup.
Speaking about God having a sense of humor, be careful what you signal to the universe. The oversoul has done some funny things to me. Like, I moved to a place that I was always driving by, and I would say, that building looks weird, I will never live there. Guess where I'm living?
You're living in that building.
In that building. Yep. Also, if you deny, repel something, and then you decide something else, the universe will give you the opposite. I don't understand why. Why?
Well, the reason the universe gives you the opposite is because anxiety was attached to the very thing that you either did or did not want, and the flow of the construct is going to go where the energy flowed. So yeah, we often bring our own fears upon us by being anxious about them.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm gonna go, Marina. I'm gonna go to Bell because we're about to hit 3 hours. I'm gonna close.
Love you, Jason. Thanks for everything.
Thank you. All right, who we got here? Let me unmute this girl. Where we at? I don't know why I'm not unmuting you.
Oh, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Perfect.
Hi, Jason.
How you doing?
I am good. Thank you for having me. I've been trying to catch one of these Q&A lives for a while, and I always miss them. Sorry, getting away from some noise.
That's all right.
Okay, I don't know. I have maybe one or two questions. I've been going through the Dark Scriptures playlist. That and the Great Pyramid one is actually are two of my favorite playlists so far. So my question regarding Yahweh, perhaps. I've heard you mention a couple of times throughout the Dark Scriptures playlist certain things about him, how he is not the same God as in like the New Testament and like who he actually is. I think you've mentioned something about a demon out of a burning bush. I've tried to look up some things on my own, but obviously like with the internet, I come across that like information block. And so far in the Dark Scriptures playlist, I haven't heard you expand on that. Or maybe I haven't hit the video yet, but I'm watching everything in order. And right now I've watched almost 30 videos in that playlist.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so far nothing about like Yahweh specifically, other than like that one thing you mentioned about him sometimes. So I just wanted to know and see if maybe you could expand more on him, like on that topic, or is there a video in that playlist that maybe I just haven't gotten to yet where you do? And if not, like, will there be a video specifically?
Yeah, well, I plan on redoing the Great Deceit. That's the first three videos. Yahweh, the God of Murder.
I think you mentioned, and I looked for those videos because in one of your videos you did mention them, and I looked them up, but they're member only.
No. See, those member only videos, those were montaged. So you've seen them if you've already watched the first two videos of the Dark Scriptures playlist, but they were montaged together in a 2-hour deal. All those older short videos were all put in one long video. So but when it comes to Yahweh being a demon, that's from the Old Testament, and it's very easy to see. It's Yahweh is given multiple names in the Old Testament, and one of those names is El Shaddai. And Assyriologists, it's not me saying this, Assyriologists who have studied the origin and root words that are found in the Old Testament have determined that Shaddai is the actual word in ancient Assyrian Semitic for a demon. So it's very unusual that the Hebrews would call the Tetragrammaton Yahweh by the title of Shaddai, when in that part of the world the Sheddim were desert demons. They were only found far out in areas where no people lived, way out in the desert. Well, if you know the story of Exodus, where was Mount Sinai when they come across the burning bush?
I don't know the story of Exodus.
It was in a desert. It was in a desert.
Okay.
And the Moses on the desert comes in contact with a burning bush. Now, this is just a frame of reference. It may not have been a bush. It was something burning, and it was an entity that he communicated with. Well, if that's the case, that's a seraphim. A seraphim is a burning angel. And it's Assyriologists that are the ones that made the connection between the ancient Semitic texts that were excavated in Babylon, Iraq area, and they found out all about this race of demons that lived in a desert called the Sheddim. and the Shaddai. And it was yeah, that's not me. All I'm doing is citing the scholars. They're the ones that made the connection. But it's in the Old Testament that the actual Hebrew text say that Yahweh is Shaddai and link the two together. So you can't accuse me of making anything up. All I'm doing is citing the scripture.
You're just letting us know.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said that that you're redoing the God of Deceit like videos.
Yeah,
or
well,
something?
the Great Deceit was all three videos. The Serpent Code, I forgot something, the Moses Epic or something. I can't remember the name of all three of them. It's been 4 years since I did those videos, but I have so much new data, new information on that I need to redo those videos, and I want to do them. I want to do them as live presentations.
Okay, thank you for the answer. I gotta go. It's getting
Sounds like you got your hands full.
You've been on a long time. Bye.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All righty. Well, it's a little over 3 hours, guys. I had more emails come in late, but I already said I'm going to do another live. I'm going to do some Q&As for the next every other day, probably for the next week, because I don't want to spend time working on presentations. I'm doing an OFIS video in the morning for all the OFIS subscribers at 10 a.m. And Martin Leakey and I are working on a special project together. And I'm not going to be researching for other videos right now. So Q&As, get ready for the next Q&A day after tomorrow. That's what's going on. It's going on. Get those questions ready. Sometimes I take them from the comment section, the chat. Sometimes I just pull people on the video with me. But yeah, let's check out that compost ad again before I leave and go get me something to eat.
To show you the quickest and easiest way for you to compost your food scraps at home with these Go Eco compost buckets. You simply find a spot anywhere in your garden, dig in the compost bucket, fill it with all of your kitchen food scraps, twist the locking lid on and let the bugs and worms do the rest. So you order yours today from the Go Eco Store website, and happy composting. It's so easy, even the kids can do it.
That was cool. So easy, even the kids can do it. Yeah, the errant ads are all coming in. They're starting to send them to us. So you'll be seeing it. Every single video dropping another ad. I was going to do two, but I kind of want to just leave it special. One video per ad. Or one ad per video. Yeah, that's a cool little thing right there. I garden too, so she can expect that order. All right, guys. Until day after tomorrow. Tomorrow's Monday. Yeah, tomorrow's Monday, so Tuesday, yeah. Tuesday we're gonna do another Q&A. And probably again Thursday. Oh no, I think Thursday Martin and I are dropping that video. Something like that. Harley Jacoby, I saw your email earlier. Man, you come in late, man. I'm already done. It's already been over 3 hours, bro. I'll see you the day after tomorrow. Nothing personal. I'm tired. I'm going to hit this beautiful outro, and I love you guys.